Hi guys, welcome back to the Bang Dream um, Girls Band Party, Grand Blue Fantasy, something like that,
You
Booster
have to
Pack.
say it right.
I don't care what it is. We're doing blue now. We're taking up where we left off last time. With me, because it's been like 6 years since we did red. I've got El Prez, and it seems increasingly often Tim Tom the Bim Bom. And with us, we have that other guy who likes idle things, Pesh
Well, I thought
Caps.
we established these weren't idols in
I
the
know, but
last
I'm gonna
one.
keep calling them idols, and it
You've
was
been
like the
yelling.
last one. It's been like 6 years, so people aren't gonna remember. I'm just gonna keep on going with the idol shtick.
I'm also going with the idle stick.
All right, you guys
Yeah,
do
this
whatever
is
you want.
this is like us. This is an Idol Master Cinderella Girls card on the screen. I'm pretty sure it is. Anyway, he's gonna read the cards because I'm not sure why.
It's because I asked and you said it was okay, right?
I mean, that's generally how things go.
We don't have any rigid structure around here. We are a free-form, non-profit organization. Something.
And on
Anyway,
that note, we're starting
If we've
with
made any
TD
money,
plus
I haven't heard
cards.
about it.
Neither.
Okay, so I guess let's just get right into it. We're going to be starting with a few of the trial deck cards that I requested that we would show before we get to the actual blue cards in the set. These are from the Bang Dream Girls Band Party Roselia Trial Deck Plus, which was released a couple weeks before, and there's a few cards that I selected because I feel that they are relevant in the context of the cards in the actual set. So the first card we're going to be starting with is Unwavering Determination, Sayo Hikawa. It is it's a level 0 bottom deck suicider, and at the start of the encore step, if there are no other rested characters in your front row, you can pay 1 stock to rest her. And so a lot of players tend to not understand how its ability works. Basically, just think of it this way. If she's reversed and everything in your front row besides her is also reversed, you can pay 1 to keep her around.
Basically, your whole field dies. You get to pay one in quote-unquote plus.
Yeah.
This seems fine. Like, you have a bottom deck bomb that has 500 power. I don't know how often you're really using that first effect, but, that's totally reasonable too. Like, I generally don't like that first effect at all.
Really?
It's a one-cost plus. Like,
Like,
I
Well,
I'm not really that big of a fan of that first effect because on level zeros because it's not necessarily going to always be a plus.
well, sometimes.
I mean, it's good if the level
there
0
are-
has worth.
Yeah. So like
Maybe.
the Love Live promo, right? That one is
Yeah, the Umi.
it's a power
the
pump
Umi's
on
a
attack,
good one.
which means it
I think
holds
this is
value
like
throughout-
I almost just like don't even care about the first effect. I'm just mostly here for the bottom deck bomb at 500 power.
I think the first effect's also relevant though, because like if you open like multiple copies of this, like like you use one of them to like remove your opponent's character, or if you just have like a beater, you use that to run over their character, and then you can put the bottom deck suicider, like even though you're not using the bottom deck suicide effect, you can just like direct with it, and then if your opponent runs over it with like their level 0, you can send theirs to the bottom and then pay 1 to keep it on the field and then keep attacking with it.
Is the use case for the first effect when you draw multiples? I think the use case is when you just.
I mean,
Don't
like
need
it
the
could be.
bomb
I mean, it
effect,
could be
right?
like either one. Like
It's
if
when
you
you don't
if you,
need. It's when you don't because like drawing multiples is like a low percentage play. So you're using it if you don't need the bomb effect, right? If you're
Yeah,
using the
yeah,
bomb
yeah. So,
effect,
like,
you're gonna
yeah.
use the pay 1 plus. So like
Yeah.
So maybe drawing multiples is possibly part of that purview, but I think like the real use case is if like you're killing their
like
board
if you
anyways,
draw
don't
like
need the
this
bomb,
plus
right?
beater,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
like this and then another copy of this,
Mhm.
things like that.
Like I said, I think the card is fine. Like, it's a solid, playable level 0 bomb.
I'm doing my best to shrug audibly, but it's very difficult to convey the sound of a shrug.
Like,
That is-
I'm also just doing my shrug here too. Like,
It's difficult to make shrugs heard. That is my thought on this card.
it's fine.
Okay, we good to move on to the next one, I guess. So here we have the 1/0
Oh, shit.
Crystal Song Yukina Minato.
How many climaxes is this combo with?
This climax
No,
is
no,
this
no.
climax combo is with 1 card. So she has she's a 105k, and she has a climax combo. When this attacks, if Zeit, which is the book climax, is in the climax zone, and you have another blue character, which is so hard, look up to 4 cards from the top of your deck, choose up to 1 music character among them, reveal it to your opponent, put it in your hand, and then put the rest into the waiting room. So this is the Magro Amelia effect, as we know it, I guess, and it's in a trial deck. So pretty much
free pluses are sick.
Yeah, pretty much this type of combo is pretty much just known as one of the best level 1 combos because it's free, it's nearly conditionless, and you get free stuff.
Why are there so many German words associated with all of this band?
Because German's cool.
That's got to be racist somehow, right?
Isn't that like the only German word that was associated with them?
Is it? Am I misrepresenting?
Off the top of my head,
cherry-
I can't think of any other ones off the top of my head.
Microaggression against my person.
You're a Korean who lives in America.
Same.
Anyway, this card is more than fine, right? Like, this is a perfectly playable, non-offensive climax combo.
Playable plus climax combo. Like, it's a costless, not reversing plus.
Yeah, the main competition for this card in Bang Dream right now is the 1-0 Kasumi combo with the gate that we went over. Oh, well, no, we didn't go over it last time because it's from set 1, but it's you have that combo, which is
we definitely touched on it.
Yeah, so the main competition this has for level 1 combos in like the mixed decks are that Kasumi combo, which is with a gate on attack, you can salvage the 1-0 event, and a 1-0 Lisa, which is a reverse combo, which we will get to later. Anybody else have any other thoughts?
It's playable
I think my
plus,
problem.
right?
So
yeah,
like,
playable plus.
Yeah, it's playable plus. It's just like
You
there's
had
no
a problem with this
there's
card?
no
Yeah.
so like unlike the Kasumi combo, there's no good way to get multiples of this. So outside of a drop searcher, which makes it
notably
like, the comparison to Amelia,
this is actually the first Magro type effect in Weiss Wars that doesn't have some way at level 0 to plus and grab this.
Yeah.
So like every single other one either had like Riki or it had Takitsubo in the case of Konosuba, and
Kaban.
What's it called? Kimono Friends had Kaban, yes. Yeah. This is the first set that doesn't have a way to reliably plus into it off a level 0 card.
I think that makes it a little worse because this effect, if you just get one, it's I don't think it's that good.
Yeah, I definitely think that like calling it worse than the other ones is appropriate here.
Yeah, I think it's like one of the worst. It's not a bad combo by any means, but it's definitely not like you get the value off the mill and you get the value off having multiple chances to get cards that you want for your hand. And if you only have one, it's kind of like like
looking at this card's effect in a vacuum, like it's not a bad card. But if you look at it in the context of the set, in comparison to the context that this type of effect has in other sets, those ones will be able to set up this combo more consistently and in more numbers.
Yeah.
So those ones are just better by a little bit.
Yeah.
That's not to say that this is a bad combo. I think we can all agree on the playable plus rating.
Yeah. And playable plus is fine. Like, no one's gonna look down on you for that kind of crap.
It's in the upper echelon of ratings. Like, it's from a layman's perspective, it is good. Although obviously we have good meaning something different entirely.
Okay, so next up we have the cheater card, which I mentioned in a previous episode that we reviewed Bang Dream. So this is the Rinko level assist, only able to hear this sound, Rinko Shirokane. She has assist, all of your characters in front of this gain 500 times their level, and you can rest her to draw 1, discard 1.
Now, I note that when I said cheat, I meant look at the top card like put it back or put it on the bottom. But
Oh, that was the other card.
Yeah,
That was
draw
the
drop
green
is-
level.
Huh.
Costless draw drop is pretty insane as well. It's repeatable costless draw drop. Like, damn, son.
Yeah. So one thing I want to note is that there is another level assist also in blue, which has the exact same effects, except that its draw drop is a resonance ability. So it gives up being able to do it without the resonance target, but it gets to come in a level early. So
There are also other resonance synergies.
yeah, there are other cards that synergize with resonance, and the resonance target is also the main level 3. So we'll talk about that in a bit. But for now, just looking at this card alone, it's very solid. I'd call it easily playable. You guys have anything?
I'm a sucker for this sort of effect.
I think looting is generally very powerful. I think it's fine. Like playable plus maybe. Looting
I
is
can't give
actually
it
very
label
good.
plus. I actually just can't. I want to. I can't. I really want to.
Oh, were we able to squeeze the brainstorm in here?
Oh, good grief.
Oh, crap. We can talk 1 second.
Good grief to
Let's talk
both
about
the
this
card on
first.
screen
All right,
and
let's
the
talk
brainstorm.
about this card first, because I actually wanted to talk about this before I talked about the brainstorm. But
Yeah, fun.
okay, so this is the 1/1 event that came in the trial deck, not used to phone calls. So it's an event counter, 1/1. You cannot play this if you have 1 or less music characters on stage. So you choose one of the 3 effects. Those 3 effects are: choose one of your opponent's characters, and it gets -1 soul this turn. Choose one of your characters in battle, and that character gains 3,000 power until end of turn. Or search your deck for up to 1 music character, reveal it to your opponent, put it into your hand, and shuffle your deck. If you have 1 of each of the 5 members of Roselia on your stage, so 1 Yukina, 1 Lisa, 1 Sayo, 1 Akko, and 1 Rinko, and they have to be 5 separate characters, then whichever effect you choose, you perform it twice. So you can either choose one of your opponent's characters, give it 1 soul twice, which is splittable. You can choose separate targets for that. You can choose your battling character, give it 6k, or you can search your deck for up to 2 music characters. So obviously this is an event that has a pretty nice payoff if you're able to assemble the 5 characters on your field. It's when you don't have all 5 characters, like at least the floor is like search your deck for 1 character or like 3k counter, which is fairly normal for like a 1/1 event. And so you have a lot of flexibility in the way you can use this card. Like if you have a lot of cards free in your deck, then you can minus all your opponent's characters on the defense, or if you have a lot of climaxes and you just want to ensure that you are going to cancel damage, you can search your deck for music characters instead of giving minus soul so that you can get into your cancels. Or if your opponent has a big on-reverse ability, you just pump your character so that they can't kill it. As far as the difficulty of assembling all 5 names on your field, I actually don't think it's that difficult, especially accounting the 0/0 trial deck brainstorm, which I guess we're going to try to put up on screen in a sec, but I'll give you guys a sec to talk about it.
What's this? The brainstorm?
No, this is the event.
This is the event right now.
This is the
Okay, so,
Zombie event.
I mean, it's cute. I think that having all these options is objectively powerful. Like I legitimately think that being able to pick between thinning your deck of 1 card, being just an actual counter, and the -1 soul thing is a strong effect all on 1 card. I just think that the requirement of having like a billion different characters on stage can be problematic at times. Because if your game isn't going well, this card is pretty dead, right?
Well,
Well, I mean, like, the floor is
one-
like you search your
get
deck for
one
a
of
music
the-
character.
You get one of the base effects.
Sure.
You need the 5. You need 5 names for to repeat the effect.
For the double, yeah, but I don't know. I don't know if I put this card in my deck, knowing that I could just have the fail case, which isn't particularly special. It is over spec if you always have the success case. I'll give it that.
Yeah, I mean the success rate was like pretty good.
Yeah, as far as like a rating goes, like considering the way the card is, you can't really give it anything besides niche. But I'm gonna give it a niche plus because I feel that it's like a solid reason to like run this sort of character lineup in a deck, and the payoff is actually like pretty sweet. I could get a little bit more into like.
I think more notably, the playing for this event locks you out of using multiple of your finisher. Right, that's the big thing about this card.
I mean, like you can still get like the -1 soul effect on you're not getting the full potential out of the card. Assuming you go for like multiple of your finisher, then on the defense, then you're not going to get full potential out of this card. I mean, in the most ideal situation, you play double finisher and they just die anyways. But yeah, I could talk more about like how a mono Roselia deck would like set up this field, but I'll probably take forever, and I'm probably just gonna make my own video on that anyway. So
okay,
yeah.
Next card.
Okay, we're going to talk about the Log Horizon Brainstorm now, are we?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a card that I feel is a very important part of making the event work, mostly because of its first effect, not the Brainstorm, but let's talk about the whole card. So this is the level 0 Akko Brainstorm, Angel Smile, Akko Utagawa. Continuous, your other music character in front row center slot gains 500 power and blue encore, so you can discard events and climaxes as well as characters as long as they're blue. And she has Brainstorm, pay 1, tap self, Brainstorm 4, and for each climax you can draw up to 1 card. So obviously like draw Brainstorms are not everybody's favorite type of Brainstorm, but I feel like this card's first effect gives it a lot of merit. Being able to encore important characters can be really crucial at multiple points of the game. And there's just like a lot of like creative plays that I feel that you could do using the encore, specifically in like the mono Roselia builds. Being able to like encore your attacking character to maintain your field setup for the counter, or you can encore your 1-0 combo so that you can like combo multiple turns in a row, things like that.
Your Brainstorm choice is dictated by the other back row you want to run, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, assuming you wanted to run this as your Brainstorm, as like primary Brainstorm, which I do in my deck, then your other back row would most likely be Rinko card.
Well, because like literally the other level assist available to you is the same character.
Right.
And then you'd have to run the TD level assist we just talked about if you wanted to play for that event, which you probably are if you're running this.
Yeah, yeah. In my build, I run this as the primary Brainstorm at a 4 of, and then I run 4 Rinkos that I can play at level 0, and then I run 2 of the Rinko level assist.
And so if you like the other level assist, then you have to run the Rinko Brainstorm, basically.
Basically, yeah.
Okay. What you guys want to
any thoughts? Yeah.
I mean, what you said is like I can't really object to any of it, but you're also running the Log Horizon Brainstorm.
Well, it gives center slot encore, dude.
Whatever.
The center slot encore.
I really like draw Brainstormers in decks that have a lot of very relevant events.
Well, I mean, like if you're playing it in this deck that wants to set up for the 1/1, then that is a relevant event.
I mean, yeah, but that's
But like
not
for the
really that
1/1,
much
like the
more
bigger issue in my mind for the 1/1 is making sure you always have 5 different names on board than it is finding the event.
It also means you have to win field, right? You have to win every single lane.
You have to win every single field.
Yeah.
Besides the center.
Besides the center.
Well,
and you can theoretically recoup that loss by using the event, but like I feel like now you're just like using the event to maintain your field, and then you're not really getting anywhere with that.
Well, like here's like a common play.
So
here's a common play that I make.
-2 soul effect, right? I think that's the.
Well, in endgame, but like here's like a very common play that I do like probably like 1 in 3 games with my deck. So like let's say I hit level 1 first, right? I play 1 of the 1/0 combo in center slot, I have like the level 0 Suicider, because that's a Scio. And then there's a 0035 Can't Side. It's not exciting. We're not really reviewing it. But her name is Lisa. And then that's my front row. So I have Suicider, level 0 Beat Stick, 1/0 combo in center. And then my back row is one of the Rinko back rows, and then this Brainstorm. So that's 5 names. It's very easy to assemble, relatively. And then you play 1/1 counter on the defense. Search 2 copies of your 1/1 or your 1/0 combo, Encore center, and then you can triple combo on the following turn.
Well, I mean, isn't that just the function of the 1/1 card being a search 2, which like is really strong, obviously. But I mean that's probably a scenario that happens frequently. But does that really warrant running such a specific set of cards?
I mean, like I'm just saying, like it helps that you can Encore center slot to like help with that strategy, because it allows you to get more value.
I agree. I definitely agree. But look, at this point, I definitely think what you're doing is probably above the level of your average trial deck, which is why this is like something we should talk about at all. But since we're bending over backwards, and I say that knowing that it's not actually overwhelmingly difficult, you're bending over backwards to accommodate all these cards in your deck, some of which aren't even like actively good cards. So you can leverage this event sometimes at level 1, sometimes at level 3. I mean, that again, stronger than any given trial deck, stronger than most like ancient decks as well. But I don't know, it just doesn't seem like the sort of power play that I want to do. It's like you're kind of using this 1/1 event to make up for the fact you don't have a Ricky type or like a Kaban type effect. And while I understand that that is one way to make up for it, I don't think it's inherently particularly powerful.
I can agree with that. I obviously wouldn't say that this is like the most powerful thing that Bang Dream has to offer, but like there is a payoff that cannot be accomplished with like other builds. And while it's not spectacular, it's like just it's like good. I think it's I mean I'm not that I'm saying I'm calling the card good. Like this card's playable. I agree with whatever the rating is on screen right now.
Mine is Log Horizon. Or if you'd rather Ilya set one, Ilya EB1, you can pick. I don't mind.
Okay, but in any case, I feel like I've made my point for this card.
Yeah, like this seems fine in like a pure Roselia deck, which I'm sure is what a lot of people have already built.
Okay. Lolicon Horizon?
Whatever, man.
Okay. Shall we move on to the booster pack cards?
Booster
yeah. Cards. Okay, so we're gonna start with this Brainstorm that I don't like. So this is Pure Passion Rinko Shirokane. She's a 0/0 1500. This ability activates up to once per turn. When you use Resonance, look at the top card of your deck. Either put it on the top or bottom of the deck, choose one of your other characters, and that character gets +1 level until the end of the turn. And she has Brainstorm, pay 1, rest this. Brainstorm 3, and if there is a Climax card, not for each Climax card, search your deck for up to 2 music characters, show them to your opponent, put them in your hand, and discard 1 card. So this card is obviously very, very different from Brainstorms that we're used to, because we're used to Brainstorms searching per Climax and not Brainstorming 3. So some problems that I have with this card, obviously there's the big one. If you hit more than 1 Climax, it just feels really bad because you're not getting the maximum value out of it. And the biggest problem I have with this card is that if you are at a deck state where you are at like a low number of cards in deck, but there's multiple Climaxes within those few cards, you can get completely screwed trying to use this Brainstorm, because you might end up having to minus, because you search up to 2 music characters, but you always have to discard 1. So there's potential to minus, there's potential for you to like whiff completely, and then your deck is just full of Climaxes. And obviously the first ability can help to circumvent that. And there's multiple resonance synergies that we can talk about later on. But for the most part, I'm not a huge fan of this Brainstorm.
That downside you mentioned would still be relevant even if it were the traditional mill 4 for every climax.
Yeah, but it's like more punishing though.
Tim
Is
Tom,
it?
I'm sure you've done the
mean,
math here. What are
I
the
don't
odds
think
of
it's that
hitting
much more
on
punishing.
a mill 3 versus a mill 4?
Uh,
No, it's like
Caught him
it's
out. He
more
hasn't
it's
done the
more
math.
it's
I can
potentially
do it right
like more
now.
punishing in
Because
certain cases.
what I want to know is what's your average on the mill 3 versus the mill 4 to see if this kind of profile actually draws you more cards. Because if it doesn't, then I think that argument is incredibly flawed.
Oh no, it clearly doesn't draw you as many cards simply because it's going to miss that much more often.
But my question is, are you missing that much more often? Right? Like on the same deck, if you mill 3 versus mill 4, but every hit means that you draw 2, how many more cards are you getting on average, right?
You're not drawing 2, you're drawing 2 and ditching 1. So you're getting 2 more cards, but depending on how good your hand sculpting already is, that may not be a tangible benefit. Like that's what Peshkats was saying earlier. When your deck is like put it say 60-40 for cards and climaxes, or like even 50-50, at that point this card is arguably worse than any given mill for Brainstorm that searches per climax. And in those situations, the brainstorms that let you search per hit will give you further pluses, making those superior in those situations as well. The questions I want to ask about this brainstorm when I'm evaluating it are, well, there's 2 of them. The first one is when you oh god, my mind went blank. What's going on? The first question that I want to ask about this brainstorm is how much, like these situations you're describing where you get screwed more than a typical mill 4 brainstorm, how much more often do they happen, and is that worth the the obvious fact that you are getting more selection when you do hit? Because if you've played enough Weiss, you'll know that like the majority of your brainstorms that do hit will be hitting 1. That's just how it is. That's just what Weiss is. If you brainstorm a lot during your first cycle to mill through your deck, or even if you brainstorm during a kind of uncompressed second deck, the biggest biggest proportion of hits you have will be 1 climax in 4. What proportion will you be what's the downside of using this compared to a regular mill 4 get 1+ per hit brainstorm? That's the question I want to ask.
Okay, so I think to answer that question, we need to compare it to what is, in my opinion, and apparently like everybody else's opinion, like the quote-unquote like best or like most used brainstorm for Bang Dream right now, which is the salvage brainstorm in red that we previously looked at. I don't know if that's a good comparison to make, considering that one is a salvage brainstorm and one is a search brainstorm.
Let's ignore the idea of deck compression for search, and let's ignore the card selection. Let's assume that we're using both at relatively optimal times.
So what do you mean by like relatively optimal?
So for the search brainstorm, it'd be like straight after or going into your refresh, or for the salvage brainstorm, it'd be when about half your deck is out.
Okay, so what was the question again? What is the...
When is like the situations you described, you're definitely right. They are worse than when you mill 4 and you hit multiples, and then you might get screwed because you're not getting as much value. How much more often does that happen? And does that compare to all of the times where you're going to hit and get more value from searching 2 than you would from searching 1 with a regular brainstorm? Because clearly the downside to this brainstorm is that you only mill 3, whereas the upside is that you sculpt your hand way better, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I also think that like the first ability is also needs to be like taken into account, because it's like essentially, if you're able to like activate the ability, it essentially turns it into quote unquote brainstorm 4. So like you can
timing, right?
Hmm?
Depends on the time. I think there's some resonance
Do you
effects
have
that are
that
not
many?
climax
Okay, yeah,
based
yeah.
on
There's
Main
a
phase
not-
resonance effects?
Yeah, there's 3 main phase resonance effects and 2 attack phase resonance effects. So it's relevant for 3 of those effects.
Well, you can use it for the attack phase. You can use it for the attack phase ones.
You
if
can
want.
use it during attack phase to like just like check your trigger or something. But in terms of like brainstorm case scenarios, there is a way to like effectively turn it into quote unquote brainstorm 4. And I guess to answer your question, like the amount of times where I could see like this card being worse than like the Salvage Brainstorm. Like you said, it depends on like the current deck state at that point in time. But I think that like as far as like non-optimal situations go, like sometimes you're gonna like be at low deck and what is this? Hold on one sec. Oh, how come you're making these calculations with 50 card deck though?
That's how you do it. So in the first deck, when you calculate the chances of getting a certain amount of successes per the cards you're milling or whatever,
Yeah.
you treat the entire deck.
Oh, in first deck.
Yeah, I'm
okay.
talking about first
The
deck.
deck is set before any
It's
refresh.
you get the
obviously.
same delta between percentages in like subsequent decks too. So like it's around like a 10% increase or like 10% delta between mill.
Well, this is a hypothetical number, right?
This is your
Well,
average.
no. This
expected
is for the first deck. This is your hit percentage. Right. This is the.
This
would
your
be an
expected
aggregate.
hit.
This would be an aggregate percentage of hits across all first decks that you'd ever play.
Okay, so
obviously,
Mill 4 Brainstorm
obviously
has...
subject to variance, but like that'd be the average number you get.
Okay, so Mill 4, so like the what we're talking about right now is, so apparently the math is, with a Mill 4 Brainstorm, in your first refresh, you have a 50% approximate chance of hitting one or more?
Hitting one or more. Chance of hitting two or more with 4-card Brainstorm in the first deck is around 11%.
Okay, so, and then with Mill 3 Brainstorm, which would be the Rinko, you have approximately 40% chance of hitting one or more. Which is...
one or more.
More, which is actually like less ideal for this card. Well, what's the percent chance of hitting two or more with this?
6%. With the third
so like
Mill 3, it's like 6%.
Okay, so 6% of Rinko Brainstorms in first refresh result in lost value, hypothetically.
It's not very many.
I would not consider that something I would be like. It's something you plan for, but I wouldn't expect that to be the norm.
It's not huge to like
Well,
that you.
So let's talk about like, well, but then you have to compare, right, to the case of hitting one, of course, hitting one of this Brainstorm versus hitting one of like a regular Brainstorm. I think hitting one with this Brainstorm is a lot better, right?
Far better.
And I think it's like I think it's like marginally better. Like, as like, let me think. If we assume, like, this case where you're just hitting one is just going to happen a lot more often.
If you're hitting one, it's the exact same effectiveness as your Mill 4 Brainstormer in terms of milling from your deck. Additionally, you get a discard from hand. That seems good to me.
Yeah, I think you were running into a hit one scenario far more often than you are hitting in a hit two,
Multiples.
right? So
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Which means like you have to think about the other. You have to obviously, if you want to make a case that this card is less good than other Brainstorms, then you have to like it has to come from somewhere else as well. I think. I don't know if there's much of an argument to be made just talking about, you know.
Okay, I think if anything, the situation that I want to highlight the most as a weak point of this card is when you're low deck. So like you compare it to a Salvage Brainstorm when you have low deck. Your waiting room is full of targets. If you let's say you have like 2 climaxes in 5, like just hypothetically, let's say you have 2 climax in 5, you Brainstorm, you hit 1, then you get your salvage, right? And everything's pretty good. If you have a typical search Brainstorm where it's for each climax search, and let's say you have 2 and 5 and you hit both, which is something that can happen. So you search 1 from that last card, and then you get to search 1 from your next deck as well.
It actually depends on how the search Brainstorm is worded, but yes.
Okay, if it's not a search X, or if it's not a search X Brainstorm.
I mean, all new Brainstorms are worded.
All new Brainstorms are for like
hedged
for each,
against this inherently.
Yeah. All of the recent Brainstorms are like for each climax, search up to 1 character, where you would be able to do the actions that I just described. In a scenario like that, this card is like easily like the worst cases a lot of times. Because if you hit, okay, let's say like best case scenario is you hit both in the 3 cards of the Brainstorm, and then you search to ditch one. But like in so many configuration, or like, okay, maybe not so many. I'm not 100% sure on the math on it, but like a lot of configurations.
That one seems like a pretty narrow situation to me.
Well, I mean, you could
in that situation
let's generalize it such that I do think it can get a little hairy if you're running events and you're running this and you're
right.
low deck
so
size.
So my
right?
stance is, if you're running events, no, you probably shouldn't play this because it doesn't do anything there, right? Like you run way more misses than your average deck. I think the most misses I've run on characters in a deck is like what, 12, 14. 14, 6 events. That's
I think like 11 or 12 misses is like reasonable,
right? But like once you start getting to that kind of point, right, you just have to start considering like if that's how many misses are in your deck when you're searching for characters, then should you really be running a search too? And that isn't to say like I haven't even run into issues with like the regular brainstormers that search with that in mind. Like it's happened, right?
Yeah.
For me, like your average case scenario is, we just did the math. On average, this is going to plus you 10% less often. Like that's objective math right there, right? So you have to basically, like, in terms of comparing this to a traditional search brainstormer, the real only argument for me is that 10% chance to miss worth discarding from hand?
You could probably treat it as like
extra fixing
5% chance, like because of the resonance ability, right?
Sure. But like the resonance ability is a synergy ability, but and you can bring that up. But most brainstormers also have other abilities that you can compare this against for that argument as well. So like,
sure,
we should, as far as these brainstormers are considered, just consider them brainstorm for brainstorm, right?
Yeah, sounds about right.
So that's what we're getting to. You're comparing the 10% chance to miss on your plus on your first refresh, because that's all we really did the math for the ability to fix better and ditch a card. That's where the crux of this argument is for me. In a lot of situations, I don't actually think that that just being able to plus more 10% of the time is going to make or break your deck if the rest of your deck already does good things. I actually do think the extra discarding is incredibly valuable, especially in near refresh situations when you might have climaxes stranded in hand. Because not every deck is slamming climaxes every turn.
Okay, so
that's my thought process here.
Okay. Is there anything else you guys wanted to bring up with this card?
How does a mill 3 mill less often on a 30-card deck than the mill 4? Are those numbers mixed up?
Oh, yeah, those numbers are mixed up.
Yeah, so like again, it's still looking at 10%. So like that is the crux of the argument, right? 10% chance to miss on your plus versus being able to discard and fix your hand better. I would rather have, and I guess this is like tournament mentality now. If the goal is to win a tournament, I'd rather have the ability to high roll.
So you would rather have this brainstorm?
I would rather have this brainstorm over a generic search brainstorm.
Kind of depends on your deck, but
it does depend on your deck. But like when you're going into a tournament with the goal to win, like win the whole event.
Oh,
I will say the ditch.
Plan on being lucky.
Like there aren't that many brainstorms that give you like a ditch outlet, like combined with the card.
I mean, it's
so
basically just Kirito plus Little Busters plus.
The LB brainstorm is awesome. I love that brainstorm. So and part of it is because of the ditch one.
Yeah, but that one you can ditch one multiple times. But yeah,
yeah, I mean, it's not a perfect translation of experience, but
yeah, again, it's just, as far as I'm concerned for this situation is, if I was entering a tournament and it was between this and a generic search brainstormer, play good, plan on being lucky.
So what would you rate this?
I would give this a playable plus.
I'm around there as well. I'm not even thinking about the resonance effect.
I'm not. Like, the resonance effect is entirely irrelevant as far as I'm concerned here.
I'm just gonna.
relevant.
It is relevant, but it's not what's causing, like, it's not changing my judgment of this card substantially.
I'm gonna stick with a playable.
I think I'll give it playable as well.
And with that, we move on to a very exciting card. Songstress.
Oh, is this which one's this? Is this the finisher?
This is the burn 2 burn 2.
Okay, can we just review this card and be done with it? That's like
Sure. All right, so this is Songstress inside the birdcage, Yuki no Minato. She's a 3/2/9/5. During your turn, for each of your other music characters, this gets plus 500 power, so that's a very yellow ability. When it's placed on...
according to what's on screen, she's a Brainstorm. Oh, we changed it.
When this is placed on stage from hand, you may heal 1, and climax combo, when the battle opponent of this becomes reversed, if Fervent Shout, which is the Pants climax, is in your climax area, you may pay 3, discard 2. If so, perform the following action twice, burn 2. So you get to burn 2 twice.
Burn 2 is an excellent number. Like, that is,
she's not shouting on the climax at all. I object to this.
That is a top tier number right there,
They don't
though.
have
Burn
the
2
technology.
twice, top tier.
If anything, she's probably more likely to be shouting on the character art.
I mean,
Yeah.
so really, well, the burn 2 is a great number, but like
You got
it's
to reverse.
also on reverse, and it's also fairly resource intensive.
Yes.
Keeping that
I'm
in
not
mind.
denying any of those other things.
Well, like
This is
so
extremely
the comparison is not to like one copy of a traditional finisher; it's like to 2 copies of a traditional finisher. I think if it's like, you know.
Well, I think it's probably more appropriate to compare it to something like a restandard, right? Because this is a similar cost to a restandard.
Oh, sure,
Tied to
sure.
a climax combo plus a similar requirement needing to reverse. And I think compared to a traditional restander, this is better.
And it's a healer.
This is better compared to a traditional restander. This
If
is
we're
where
going to if we're going to put this in the same class as restandards, then this is the best air quotes restander in the game by a lot.
like,
wait, are we counting
wait,
Marika?
Marika.
Are we counting Marika? Marika?
Hello.
Marika?
Mariko's better. But like the way I see it, it has a similar cost to a resender, assuming tied to a climax combo. It's very close. It has a more powerful restand effect. In this case, you're dealing 2 damage twice. The downside is that you cannot do like
you can
huge
do
amounts of
multiples.
damage if you need to.
You can do multiples if you just trigger climaxes.
Well, I mean, the doing multiples is the exact same thing for doing multiples for a lot of restanders, right? Like, it's hard sometimes.
The main difference comparing this to a restander is that the restander is going to be getting you back stock, whereas this is not going to be getting you back any stock. So,
The upfront
Two
cost on
copies,
this
if
is
you
a
want
little
to
bit
do 2
cheaper on
copies
the
of this,
stock
you need
side,
7
though.
stock.
like if you wanted to compare this to a restander, then the climax combo would quote unquote cost 2 more stock. So like you would treat it as like quote unquote pay 5, discard 2.
Does this set have money counter?
No.
No.
I don't care.
All right, fair enough.
Look, my issue with this card is actually not dissimilar to my issue with Sinon, which is really weird to bring up here, actually. If this card dug for its climax, i.e. it cantripped, this card would be, in my estimation, insane. Like, actually blowout levels insane, because you could very consistently do this twice. As it stands, you're going to be a little pressed to do it twice, and even if you do, you're going to be left with almost nothing on the opponent's turn, which is a really bad proposition if you are, say, behind. And yes, you're doing like, what, 7 instances of damage? A heap of instances of damage. But if your opponent cancels some number of them and doesn't die, then you heal down, but then the next turn, you're going to have to hope and pray that your opponent didn't heal like 3 times and knock you to 3/5 when you have no cards left in hand.
My general thought process is for these kind of finishers, if you don't kill them, you're probably not winning the game anyways.
I think, no, if you do this once and then somehow do it again on the next turn, say if you trigger a pants.
Sure, I
probably
think
just win
it's
the
fine
game.
if you're trying to do it once over 2 turns, but like if you're trying to do this twice in 1 turn, like, and they're not dead, like, What do you think is going to happen?
Yeah. But the thing is, with some finishes, you can do them twice in one turn, and then do it twice in the next turn. That's why Yami was so good. Or
I mean,
twice or
Yami
three
was good
times.
for a variety of reasons, including hexproof and.
Well, no, like the main reason Yami was so good was because you just did it every single game, and it cost basically nothing, and you always had cards in hand afterwards. The thing with Yukina is that you can't push it to the limits without also sacrificing some amount of forward planning. Look, I'm only addressing this as part of the weakness of the card because everything else about the card is insane. It has inbuilt power. It is arguably the best single on-reverse finishing effect in the game, not counting Marika. And it even heals, so you can have a chance at living to the next turn if you only want to do it once. But I think that's going to be the main mode of this card. There's nothing wrong with the main mode being once, but if you only if you're thinking of attacking and reversing with this once, and then attacking on two other slots with, I don't know what you're attacking with, maybe those ones are like a Musashi burn or something, but if that's your cap, then that's actually not as strong a finishing push as some of the other decks.
So
and this card doesn't even dig for its climax, which have.
So unlike Xenon, double Xenon requires 6 stock. This requires 7 stock to do 2 of. Which means if you're playing other level 3s, or spending your stock in ways, like other ways, right?
Like if you wanted to play like 2-1 Saya level support to ensure that one of them reverses.
Dig, right? Like you have a level assist that digs you, right? 1 card. But like...
Well, I mean, like you're either playing that or you're playing Saya, so...
Sure.
Yeah.
I think it gets pretty restrictive once you factor in like the reality that you're gonna have to play other cards that are not Yukina to grab your climax.
Let's not even think about the stock cost. The hand cost is what really makes it difficult for me. Like doubling up and
I think the hand cost is fairly manageable.
I think the
stock cost is way more prohibitive for 2.
I think, like, at least from my experience,
this deck does not make an enormous amount of stock.
Right? Like at least in my experience, everybody playing this card, like after a turn of like double of this, like more often than not, you're going to end that turn with like 0 stock and 1, maybe 2 cards in hand. Like that seems to be the like norm.
I mean, I just think like 7 stock, anything above like even like
7's not that hard to hit.
No, I mean
but,
like
the fact that you need it, like if you need to go further than 7 in order to circumvent not having the climax or circumvent your opponent potentially having a counter, and you would want to like play like Saya level support or something like that, then the cost is going to get into territory where you might feel quite a bit uncomfortable. And so I think both the stock cost and the hand cost are not something that you can really ignore when you're playing this card.
So I hesitate to ask because I see the money rating, but how expensive is this card?
No. It's $20 now.
The SSP, however,
the SSP is how much? 1,000?
150,000 yen.
About $1,400, per copy. You know
why?
Because it's like a chance at 1 per carton. It's a chance at 1 per. It's a chance at 1 per carton.
1 SSP out of 25 per carton, approximately. So this is real life gacha. I think we calculated it. What did we calculate it to? So if we assume there's one SSP per case, right? So that's what 1 in 16 divided by.
Are there even 4 in print? How many of these are even in print? The SSP?
Oh, there's easily more than 4 in print. I've seen one picture of one guy having 4.
Oh, that's right. But there can't be that many in print.
You actually think that this card hasn't been printed a heap? I would be surprised if there were less than like 300 at the very, very least.
Yeah, I think that I wouldn't estimate a number lower than like probably 100 or 150 of these
But,
printed.
like,
but still, that's a pretty low
less than
number.
1,000 probably, right?
Oh, there's easily less than 1,000.
Yeah, the SSPs are now, I think, the shortest print cards in all of Weiss. I actually think that is the case.
Each individual SSP, right?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Each given one will have some small 3-digit circulation, which is insane when you take into account like original alpha printings of Magic and stuff. Like Weiss is not a big game.
So, what do you want to give this? Good meta, I think.
Like, I'm not going to give this good plus. I'm giving this good meta because, again,
I am giving it good meta as well.
When you factor in everything about this card, you'll see that you aren't going to be doubling up on this like you were with Sinon, or you were with, like, obviously Yami, or
which is why I wanted to compare it to 2 copies of the traditional finisher compared to 1 copy of this. That's
also harder to get just due to the reverse condition, though.
Yeah, agreed. Like Kokocino, triple was feasible because you didn't have to reverse. All you need to do was get the resources, which still wasn't like super easy. And double was trivial. Same goes for Al and Yami.
Yeah, with those decks, you literally didn't have to give a shit about what your opponent was doing. But this card, you actually have to care about what your opponent has on field, and like, are you able to reverse it? And does your opponent have ways to interact?
So you're only playing.
You're not like absurdly big either. You're like 11-5. You get
12,
probably
5,
and probably a level 6. You're looking at 14k.
You get some sort of level X. I don't know if you're playing that because there's a Machine of Ice type effect in this set, right? You tap 2 and
yeah, that was the one we were talking about. The Saya level support.
Which means that you can't brainstorm for extra cards to make this more manageable, which is, I mean, you probably can, but that's a real gamble. And that means you won't be getting double. But getting a single one-off is comparable to getting a double finisher off something else, so that's fine. You're still not, like, overwhelmingly huge, and if your opponent empties their field, then you've got nothing doing. You're going to be, like, fielding Musashis or doing nothing or whatever. I still think that you'll be able to manage 1 reverse without much difficulty, even without the Machine of Ice effect, because not every set runs sack counters anymore anyway, and like there will be some sets that you just can't get over, but those are few and far between. So I think that you can reliably get 1. I think that's an expectation you can have.
I have nothing to object to there.
Well, I mean, that's all meta good, right? Good meta.
Yeah, it's still an insane effect.
It's an insane effect, a little prohibitive, unfortunately.
Okay, so here we have Sharing Happiness Tai Hanazono. We're now getting into the rares. So she's a global 5 to music characters, and she has Startup. Put the first time I heard the guitar, which is the 2-1 event from the first set, from your waiting room on the bottom of your deck, and rest herself. Choose one of your characters. That character gains 1,500 power until the end of the turn. Remind me what the 2-1 did again?
You play the 3-2 from your hand.
That's just it, right?
That's it.
Okay.
And there's a combo that it's like double searches for the event and a card. This is like a waifu card.
Yeah, it's actually just a waifu card.
It's nice for the combo because
you need to change the text, by the way.
Oh, oops.
Yeah, the fact that the combo from the first set, the Climax combo tie, so it's on reverse, pay 1, search your deck for 1 copy of this event and 1 music character. So if you don't have any copies of this event in your deck, then you kind of feel bad, especially since you're paying 1 stock for an on-reverse combo. So using this support to not only buff your on-reverse combo and simultaneously put the card you want to search for back into your deck for you to grab it is good in that context. But again, that's a waifu deck context, basically. Or not necessarily a waifu deck, but like it focuses on that strategy, which essentially just makes this card niche by design.
Yeah. Don't think anyone else.
It's just strictly a niche card. I don't think anyone can object to that.
Yeah.
I think it's a pretty decent niche card, honestly. I'm not reading these effects anymore. I have to get used to that.
Okay, next we have 4 of them at the cafeteria. Yukina Minato. This is a 2K punch. That's basically all you need to know. Playable plus on being a 2K punch. Anybody else?
I I I don't know the structure of the deck because I haven't actually built a Bang Dream deck, but I never rate these as playable plus unless they are like actually in the deck. Because lots of decks just go without counters, right?
I literally haven't been calling these playable plus since, here's the quota, Terraformers.
Oh god.
All right.
Oh boy, we are back here.
We're always back here, don't you know?
Never ends.
But, it's still a fine card. There's nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
All right, now we have the other blue level 1 combo in the set. This is necessary and required Lisa Imai, aka the Don't Leave Me Lisa card.
Is she necessary and required?
Oh my god. Dude, this card art is actually just like Rip Roselia. Oh, Tom, did I tell you that like Mike and I are considering going to Fifth Live?
Yeah.
You and Mike
I'm
Chang?
sorry for your wallet's premature death.
You're doing
Dude.
what now?
We're considering going to Fifth Live in
So they
in May.
do. So the way idol people
going to
do
Japan.
concerts is that they pay for a chance to get a ticket to events.
Yeah, it's a
Why
literal
do
lottery.
you do this?
It is a no. Wait, you
They're
don't pay.
dedicated.
You go into the lottery and you get a chance to pay for the ticket. Right?
Yeah, that's how
Is
it
it a
works.
chance
yeah.
to pay for a
Okay.
ticket? But I
Okay.
thought
You
you,
get a
had to
chance
buy.
to pay for
but I
no,
thought
you
you
get
had
a
to buy
chance to
stuff.
pay for the ticket.
No,
Oh, well,
you
no,
don't
no,
have
okay.
to pay to get into the lottery. You enter
Well,
your name.
I thought it's usually
about
packaged
that,
with
about
stuff,
that.
though, right?
About
I thought
that, yeah.
chances.
The application for the lottery for this is actually in the Blu-ray. So
Yeah, so you have to buy stuff.
So-
I'm sitting.
Oh my
You
god.
have to.
What?
okay,
A $60 Blu-ray.
okay, context. Okay, so anyways, the reason this is the "Don't Leave Me Lisa" card is because the voice actress for Lisa, who is the character who is crying in the picture, she is retiring from the industry due to health issues, and the last thing that she does in the industry is going to be the concert in question. And so that's why this is the "Don't Leave Me Lisa" card, and all the fans use this art for the pay their respects to Rip Roselia, basically.
Idols, man.
Yeah, serious business. Anyways, let's talk about the card. So when you play any climax to the climax area, this gets plus 1500 power until the end of the turn. And climax combo with the book climax, when the battle opponent of this becomes reversed, search your deck for... Oh, and you have another music character, which is not hard at all, obviously. Search your deck for up to one music character, show it to your opponent, put it in your hand, shuffle your deck, and until the end of the opponent's next turn, this gains Encore Pay 2. So the idea behind giving it Encore 2 is so, like, if you happen to have multiple copies of the climax, then you could hypothetically combo multiple turns in a row if you feel like paying 2 to do this again. And the first ability synergizes with that, I guess, because instead of being on play game 15, it's on climax placement game 15, which essentially allows you to hit 7k or higher if you have supports on multiple turns in a row. So that being said,
I feel like
you are
if you-
super generous. You are super
this
generous
is-
about that encore effect.
I'm
I
not
don't
saying.
think
I'm just saying like that was their, I guess, design philosophy behind it.
Too bad.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Apart from that, this is like a super generic 7k on reverse search combo that we've seen in like every single set ever in the like past couple years.
Is that like an F for like press F for your respects?
Yes.
Dude.
Yeah,
Too
this card's
bad.
not very good.
Yeah, I mean it's okay, right?
Yeah.
You're just searching for a character.
Which makes me, I'm okay. So I'm like 80% sure that the reason Japan is playing this so much over the trial deck level 1 combo is because the voice actress is retiring. I hope that's the case, but if that isn't the case, there are for some reason a lot of people playing this over the level 1 TD combo, and I don't understand why.
Idols.
You don't want to
dude.
buy TDs?
Idols.
That is absolutely not true, and I think.
You think?
There were TD pluses topping in many stores not long ago.
I mean, I can't explain.
There's no reason that you shouldn't have access to the level 1 combo. It's a 4 of, and the climax is a 4 of in every single trial deck. And people are definitely buying trial decks to look for those sign cards. So like,
Yeah, well.
there's no reason that people shouldn't have access to the level 1 trial deck combo.
Idols, dude. This is playable.
Yeah.
It's playable, but like that's as good as it gets.
Playable with a little asterisk, and the asterisk leads to a footnote that says RIP.
Rip.
Press F. Okay, next we have Nurse for only Tomoe, Ako Udagawa. So Tomoe being the red-haired sister that you see in the bottom right corner of the picture. So this is the card that I was talking about earlier that is comparable to the trial deck level assist. It has more or less like the same effects, slightly different. So
What does it resonate with?
resonates with the
finisher.
Level 3 finisher.
level 3.
Ooh.
Okay, every card that I talk about that has resonance will be to that level 3, except for the 2/1 Arisa. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, because yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So if assume every resonance is to that level 3 burn 2, unless I tell you otherwise. But yeah, so this is level assist 500 times level in front to music characters, and then resonance. Reveal the level 3, rest this, draw 1, ditch 1. So it's the same thing as the 2/1, except that it's a 1/1 and it requires resonance. Basically,
This is the first time we had a resonance on a startup. I think.
Is it?
Is
No.
it?
I think
I
so.
feel like there must have been one in Shining or something.
Really? No. Wait.
Wait. What was the resonance free fresh from Shining? Was that a startup?
It was, but is it actually resonance?
No. That was a come and play.
No,
Wait,
that
no,
was a
on
tap.
level-
That was a
just
pay
level-
to tap self refresh.
Oh no,
or
that
whatever.
didn't need resonance, did it?
I don't
I'm
think
pretty sure it did, didn't
Well,
it?
then that's a startup resonance, then, isn't it?
so. Oh, but
Here, I'm looking
it's
it up
not
right
a
now.
real
Shining
deck.
resonance.
Oh, it
It was-
is. Oh, it is.
it was a Sonya, right?
Oh, it is. It's a
Yes,
free
it was a
resonance. No, it's an auto effect. It's when it's coming to play. It's at the beginning of your climax phase. You
Oh,
can refresh if you reveal the card and tap it.
Was there a Talavru one? There might have been a Talavru one.
I don't think there's a 12 for one.
there's
a
definitely the
which
Union, but that
was-
came out after this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh well, I mean that's fine. There's
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna find the keyword for resonance in because I don't know how to type it in
Okay.
Japanese.
This is playable, right?
yeah, it's playable. I think I like the other one more because this card is taking up room in the back row when it doesn't need to. Like you may as well just play the 2/1 that has nothing attached to it, right?
That's what I'm doing.
Well, yeah. If you're playing the other Brainstorm, though.
Not necessarily, because that's also on the assumption that you are playing the event.
Yeah, the event's the only thing that brainstorm will matter for.
If you are playing the event and you are playing the draw brainstorm, then obviously you are more incentivized to use the trial deck brainstorm due to it being Rinko and not Akko. That being said, I still think
Rinko's
that
the type of
TD
character that Lychee Punnet really likes, so
Who?
there's some
The George Ock.
bias here.
the black haired girl with the Hime cut.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, sure. That's whatever. That's my thing.
that's racist.
Yeah, alright.
Sure. Whatever you say, man. Okay, so anyways, we're giving this card a playable, but so do we all think the 2/1 from the trial deck is better than this one?
I think it
probably,
is.
yeah.
I think
I was
it's
just-
like tiny edge over it.
Like
I
think
like the
it's
synergy
slightly
with the
better.
Brainstorm, but
It's not nearly as much synergy as the other resonances. All the other resonances, in my opinion, have. Oh, by the way, I should mention, when you use the Rinko Brainstorm, so when you use the resonance effect of the Brainstorm, like when you use resonance, you can check top, leave it on top or bottom, and then give one of your characters +1 level until
you
end
have
of
to do
turn.
the draw drop for this first, and then
Yeah, you do that first. But what I'm saying is, when you
And
do the
then
resonance,
this
you
level X.
can pump 1 level, and then it
Fuck.
ends up
Oh,
pumping
the
more from level X.
synergy! Dude,
Wait,
how
did
can
you
not
not
play
realize
this
that?
card? No, I was waiting for
I mean-
I was waiting for my chance.
Oh my god.
I was waiting for this.
Oh, this guy. Okay. Next up, we have the 3/2 Sayo.
Yeah.
This is Tanabata between the two of them, Sayo Hikawa. So this is an early play. If you have 4 music characters on stage, which is a... have we established this as like the most fake condition for early play?
Kinda.
Yes,
I
but
feel
no,
like
because there are
recently-
drawbacks.
Recently, there's been a focus on being able to play multiple early plays. So
Okay,
like,
so in the context where you want to play multiple of an early play, this is not the best condition because you can't play multiple without having to like play over one of your own cards.
to be fair,
Or-
though, I think this is not like
This isn't
this
the kind
would
of
be a
card that
card
you want to play multiple. Of.
I don't know if you want to play this as an early play at all, actually, but you know.
Yeah, this is in my opinion, a pretty weak early play. So, anyways, on play, draw up to 2 cards, discard 1 card, and then it has resonance. On attack, you may reveal the 3/2 Yukina. If you do, this gains 2,000 power until end of turn. So, you can use this with the Rinko Brainstorm to like check your trigger and decide, oh, do I want this trigger or do I want to put it on the bottom and try again? So that's a cute synergy that you can do that sometimes can be relevant. Defensively, this card is more often than not going to get run over very easily due to not having any inherent plus power defensively by yourself. And so basically, the only way you're going to buffer is by playing supports in the back row. Any thoughts?
I just don't think this is an early play that anyone will use. Japan doesn't want to use it because it's not a heal.
I'm recording something. Be quiet.
And no one else will use it because it is.
I'm recording
really
something. Just be
mediocre
quiet.
defense. Plus, you can't
I'm
multi-summon it.
serious.
I'm sure there are
Will,
better options.
Any
I'm
thoughts?
sure there are better options.
I'm sorry. Like the only thought I have right now is unfortunately Gigant Shooter. So I'm gonna keep that to
my
myself.
God.
All right. Is the next card the bullshit card? Oh God. All right. In my opinion, this card should have taken. This card should have taken, in my opinion, the double R slot that the Brainstorm had. I think this card's really good. So this is cute friends Arisa Ichigaya, aka Chomamama. If you have 2 or less climax in your waiting room, this is an early play. If this is in the front row, all of your music characters, including herself, gain 1,500 power. And climax combo with the pants climax that's not currently on the screen. When this attacks, if you have that climax in the climax area, there it is. If you have that climax in play and you have 4 or more other music characters until the end of the opponent's next turn, this gains 1,000 power and gains the following ability. At the start of your opponent's attack phase, choose up to 2 of your opponent's characters and they lose 1 soul until end of turn.
Until the end of the opponent's next turn.
It's until their next turn.
Isn't that what I said?
Who cares? Who cares? Like people know what it's supposed to be.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, so it's an early play that is huge and makes your other things huge. And it has a climax combo that's comparable to the Kotori combo from Rewrite in that it gives minus soul. I'll let you guys talk about it for a bit. I just think the card's really good.
I think Kotori's minus soul effect is better. Mainly because you are not required to use her effect the next turn, like you are with this card. You can hold on to the marker for as long as you want with Kotori.
Kotori combo simply gives you the marker, so you can use the effect whenever, and you don't need to have two of Kotori down to like blank a lane.
I'd also like to note that this card chooses. I don't think Kotori does.
Kotori does choose.
Kotori does choose. Choose the character in the slot opposite.
No, it gets the ability the character opposite this gets minus 2 soul.
Does it give itself the constant?
Yes, it gives itself a continuous effect, yes.
I'm going to double check this. But anyways, continue.
I was going to double check. I didn't realize that was how it works, but I mean,
I remember this came up for me once.
Yeah, it does. It is. This card gains the continuous.
All right.
Yes.
Okay.
So this gets bodied by some things that are, you know.
Well, not really.
It gets bodied by some Yamis.
Sure. I think that overall, I think the Kotori effect is just better. As powerful as this base effect already is.
Pretty much, nothing relevant loses. Like, this loses to nothing relevant. Like, if you're playing against, say, Talavru, then this card loses anyway, because Wormhole just completely nukes you, like, just GG. But aside from that, what other hexproof cards are even in the format? Like Darkness, I guess, will be in the format soon, but that's like it.
The random Vivid Strike in center. That's
But
all I
you
can think
still-
of.
You can still deny 2 lanes worth of attacks.
Yeah.
Like LB doesn't exist, Puyo doesn't exist.
Well, if you're
That
playing LB, you'd probably actually just search for the hexproof assist, right?
yeah, if you play LB, sure, but no one plays LB, so that doesn't matter.
Oh, sorry. I thought you
Okay,
meant
so
the other.
can we just-
Sorry.
I would like to take a moment to then, as long as, okay, well, I'll let you guys finish talking about the soul effect first, so you can go ahead.
No, I think it's a powerful effect.
Look, I think it's a powerful effect, but I also have some reservations. Like, unlike Kotori, look, Rewrite's a different case, so let's ignore the fact that Rewrite aims to compress, and let's look at Kotori as a healer as well. So Kotori effectively is a double damage null. We can't really compare this to that, because not only does Kotori only require a single copy of itself, not only does it like it needs only one copy to blank lane basically, and if you have 2 copies, it does almost the same things as Arisa, except you can't assign the soul, which I guess can be relevant. Like if your opponent has 1 early play and 2 single soul plays and don't have a climax, then you literally just take away their damage in the attack phase. That's really powerful. I don't disagree with that. But
I also think that the power is very relevant, though.
yeah, I agree. Kotori also has power, though. Remember that. Like, it has the best level X in the game.
It's like 11, like it's like 11k, but like 2 of this and two of this is hitting 12.5, and your third lane is also getting a 3,000 power buff, regardless of what it is.
In the context of Rewrite,
Kotori's
though,
like
Kotori's
15k,
gonna be
dude.
like 14, 15, yeah.
Okay, sure, with like Lucia, but I'm okay. Ignoring Lucia,
You
Oh,
never
wait,
ignore
you can't
Lucia.
ignore
You
it.
always play Lucia.
You can't ignore Lucia.
Rewrite
I mean, this is
never
like-
doesn't have Lucia.
With the level assist, though, it's like comparable. 2 copies of this
Sure,
versus
sure.
2 copies of Kotori.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that. But look, even without a level X, this is formidable. I don't deny that.
My problem with this card is that it is just inherently incompatible with most of your available top end. I don't think the Zweiform formula has been good ever. So playing this card, in my mind, means you're not committing. You're committing to like Musashi top end or like
Yeah,
CIP
if you
Bird
play
top
this,
end.
I mean, like the most popular top end that's being paired with this is the Healer Revenge Burn top end.
I don't think that's even. That doesn't scream amazing to me either. I think you're actively making your top end a lot worse if you're playing this card.
it's the same. It's the same problem as Gochusa, right? Like if you
Whereas
dedicate
Rewrite doesn't
all-
sacrifice much of anything at the top end. It sacrifices comparatively a lot less because Shizuru is climax combo. She doesn't need a climax.
She's agnostic, climax combo agnostic.
Well, I mean, like, well, so is the level 3 Arsa Healer.
Yes, but the Shizuru is much better. Like, if you compare Shizuru to what Rewrite could run, like, if it didn't have to spend that climax slot, right? It doesn't get much better than that. If you compare this Spang Dream deck that runs this Arisa to another deck that would run, like, Yukina or some other, like, climax combo finisher, I think it's just a lot worse. Top end is just a lot worse. In a lot of ways. Like, you're just losing a lot at the top just to run this combo.
Okay, sure. Okay, well, let's take a look at it from another perspective, because I'm actually seeing other things being done with this card besides the climax combo. So,
Sure.
I know it's been brought up a couple times, and I haven't totally like absorbed your guys' like opinion on this. But what seems to be the role of early plays right now? For like in your opinion, like Japan obviously likes their like early play healers, but like what is your view on like what is an early play supposed to accomplish when you play it?
So it varies from deck to deck for me. Like, an early play, theoretically, should be giving you a bump in the quote-unquote damage economy. Like, you are putting up a 2-saw wall, That will hopefully make your opponent's 1-soul cards ram into it, and then give you an open slot for your 1-soul attackers to get a direct attack while you proceed to kill their other walls. That is the theoretical advantage of the early play in like the transitional metagame where only a few decks have an early play. But now that every deck plays early plays without even like thinking, they're almost irrational in their love of early plays. The role of early plays is to contest other early plays so you don't fall behind. At this point, you're not trying to win the damage economy race, you're trying to maintain it. So unless you can maintain that damage economy some other way, early plays have become almost necessary for a deck. Like some decks like Talavru don't give a damn, they will just wormhole you, and then you will have wasted resources and they will not have. And like that's something no one does in Talavru because no one plays that deck because everyone is really hung up on idols or something. But early plays are there for damage economy, in my opinion, and any additional bonuses like heals or especially cantrips are great, are like additional bonuses. And this card doesn't have any of those additional bonuses. Everything it has is concentrated into its role in helping damage economy. I don't think that's a bad thing. In fact, I think this is one of the standards of damage economy now, like Kotori being the gold standard, being that she heals and she does negative soul. This Arista helps in damage economy because not only does she have the negative soul thing, but she will almost never die. Like it's very rare for her to die, barring exactly an anti-change of some sort. And that will in turn hopefully open up a few lanes for you, even against other early plays. And that's the role of early plays for me.
Okay, Thomas, do you have anything different to talk about in terms of that?
I mean,
okay. So the point I wanted to bring up is, as far as like some other things I'm seeing, is this being played as an early play in a deck that also runs Yukina level 3. So like not for its climax combo, but for being played as an early play, and then having like this survive and then transition to later stages of the game where this ends up like buffing your Yukina.
That doesn't make sense to me, because the point of this card is to help you win field, and this card just makes it easier for your opponent to deny reverse targets to your finisher.
He's right, like this card will just make your entire field big, so your opponent just rams in, and you're forced to basically either you play climaxes, this climax, and repeatedly deny their damage phases and hoping your swings for 4 or 3 go in, or you let your opponent run their cards in, getting rid of your endgame targets.
What makes it even worse is that there are ways to deny reverse targets for your finisher and remove the Arisa from the board, which are anti-change mobs. Like, I don't think the two synergize very well at all, actually. I think you'd be much better served with, an assist.
Okay.
Like,
good point. I like the points.
Like, I legitimately believe this card is being overrated simply because it has similar text to Kotori and Kuro. I think that people play this card, they will nullify most of the opponent's damage step, and when they see that instant gratification, they'll go, whoa, that's incredible. And then they'll swing in for 4 and 4, and they'll stick because, Weiss. And when they win the game, they will equate that to having won because of this card. When in reality, I don't think that's going to be the average. That's not going to be the average against someone who has played enough against this card to know how to fight it, to have played cards specifically to beat this. And once that does happen, like I don't deny this card has a powerful ceiling. It does have a powerful ceiling, especially for a card which has almost no come-in-play value, which is actively detrimental to one of the best cards in the set. And like, if you don't have the climax, it just doesn't do anything, really. A card like that, I normally think is just terrible. But when it's like this, when you can double up, when you can manipulate your opponent's damage and get a great damage advantage, I cannot deny that power. But I can say that this card, in the greater scheme of things, is probably being very overrated.
Okay. Will hasn't really said much. You there, Will?
Yeah, Like, I just want my early players to not get killed instantly these days, so it's about field for me. And I don't think this necessarily contests field that much better than everything else.
Okay. Well, I came into this prepared to give it a playable plus. I don't know what you guys are gonna give it.
I'll give it a playable plus.
Playable plus is fine.
Yeah, it's playable plus until people learn to play around it, at which point it drops to playable. Like, if you're in a metagame full of, like, Talavru, this is not the play.
Yeah.
This is just absolutely terrible
Sure,
against decks
I
like
mean, for that imaginary meta that exists somewhere.
You mean English?
that. No, I
Oh,
don't
speaking
mean English.
of,
English
oh, but
English
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 doesn't
has a
have-
lot of
but
English
English-
has a lot of
right?
English has a lot of decks running wins though.
English
They've
has
got
some decks
Attack on
that don't.
Titan, they've got Excel World.
Well, English
They
also
don't
has
have
a few decks
Personified.
that don't necessarily need to play early plays to like leverage
It's because
an
that's
advantage.
because English doesn't have very many good early plays. Period. Like, the best one is what? Darkness.
At least they don't have Wormhole.
This is true. Like, Wormhole is what beats this card, for the record. Like,
Wormhole
is the
beats-
anchor.
Wormhole
like,
can-
Wormhole
Wormhole beats
actually just
Katori,
like
too.
makes your
Wormhole beats
opponent
a
want
lot.
to kill themselves.
Wormhole beats a lot of decks.
People don't play it though, so like, who cares?
Yeah, I don't know why
I-
people don't play it.
Because people don't play Talavru, that's why. I think this, like, I think that's people just being obstinate. They don't want to play old decks because they're old and busted, and this is the new hotness. But I do think that this card is very worth playing right now. I don't know what you sacrifice for it, because I don't know where all this climax combo, like, where's this climax room coming from? But let's ignore that. Let's
on the plus side, this card is $1 and Yukina is $20. So
yeah,
if you want
that
to,
is something reasonable. Yeah, like if you want to go say level 1 something combo, and then your top end can be 8 Arises, sure, that's fine, I guess.
Ultimate
eight
waifu.
Arises is actually more expensive than playing Yukina combo.
That's really depressing. My God. Anyway, playable plus is my rating for this card.
Alright.
All right, all good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, next up we
Yep.
have Unknown Factor, Hina Hikawa. So this is I believe
Huh.
the first pastel card in blue we've seen. So this is part of the 4-color deck. And as such, it has abilities pertaining to the 4-color strategy. So she's a 3/2/9/5. If you have all 4 colors on your stage, she gets plus 1500 power, making her an 11k. On play heal, and on play, if you have all 4 colors on stage, you may choose a music character in your waiting room and put it into stock.
This is missing a line of text. It's not an early play.
Oh, did I say early play? My bad.
No, you didn't. I'm saying
Oh.
that this card is not an early play, which is why this card is much less impressive than it otherwise would have been.
That's what I
Yeah,
thought
but-
when I first played the card.
This card is supposed to be the restand target, quote unquote, for
Oh
the
god.
for the red card that Tom hates. In the pastel deck, this is quote unquote supposed to be the restand target.
I mean, it's a one-stock healer. You know,
It's a 1-stock healer, but the thing is
Can't
that
say-
you can't play like a bajillion of them and have them all be 1-stock
well, you
healers.
can play
unless
two,
you like.
right? You can play two.
Oh yeah, you can play 2. Yeah.
You can play two. I mean, it's a niche card. It only goes in the pastel deck.
Only in pastel, in mono pastel. So like you have like 4 color.
You can play this in like
Nah, do you really?
you can play this in like a pastel deck with like some other top end. It's totally fine.
Like a 4-color deck
Would
with
you?
like
Would you
No, like
actually
a
do
pastel.
that?
No, like a pastel deck with literally just like not pastel top end. That's it.
Oh,
Like, that's what
okay.
I'm talking about. Yeah.
Okay, because I mean, like, if we're talking about like a 4-color deck, then like you have no reason not to play Yukina level 3 as your finisher. In which case, that would be your blue, and then this is also blue, so you
Well,
wouldn't.
I mean, you can play like one Yukina and one of this, right?
And you would need to have a red card,
That's easy. It's fine.
but then you're giving up double Yukina.
I.
I mean, double Yukina
I
is
mean-
already pretty hard.
It's yes, but I don't think that deck aspires to do like
That.
that. So it's like, eh.
Yeah.
If you have the level assist, you can.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Okay,
Okay. Sure.
stop
Wait. No,
really
but that's
playing.
also blue as its main color, though.
No, but you can have it be red, right?
Okay, but then where's your green?
It's your whatever.
All right,
Niche.
I think niche is fine. Shout outs to Nick, and this is his favorite girl.
Sorry,
moving
Nick, this card is whatever.
moving on to the uncommons, we have Swimsuit of Other's Choice, Rinko Shirokane, Global 5, and Startup. Pay 1, choose one of your opponent's level 0 or lower characters in their front row and bottom deck it. So this is my Rinko back row of choice for filling out the event counter. Well, I played 2 of this and 2 of the Brainstorm, so I have 4 things to choose from. But this is the Rinko that I go for that.
How often do you use the startup?
Do I have a climax in stock and I want to pay it out?
Okay, so basically that and
If you have
nothing else. Sounds about right.
If you need to pay out a climax 2 cards deep, probably because
Ugh,
You can
that
you can
sounds so
activate
bad.
this.
you're probably brainstorming before you use this effect.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, this is
Yeah.
like a... What is this? This is niche?
Niche.
It's probably
Niche.
playable
I think
minus
it's
or
playable
niche?
minus. I think it's
I'm
playable
gonna
minus.
call it playable minus because I mean, like, you look at the card and you wouldn't call it niche on
Sure.
like immediately. Like, you would look at the card and you would say like, this isn't like the greatest card I've ever seen, but I could see somebody playing it, I guess. So I think playable minus is appropriate.
Like, I wouldn't fault someone for playing this in like a budget deck or something. That seems perfectly reasonable to me.
Okay. And next we have Reliable Collaborator, Arisa Ichigaya. This first effect is going to confuse everybody. Continuous. If this is in your hand, this gains Bonsai trait. That's not a flavor ability.
Wait. Is that a new trait?
That
Oh
no.
god, you beat me to it.
No.
Is it?
Sorry,
All
these are
of
the things that get me talking.
Wait.
Is that a new trait?
I don't think it's a
Wait,
new trait.
Wait, I feel like
Well, I mean, like, it's been on previous
it wouldn't
Arisa
even
cards.
have the trait on field, so
It's been
Fuck
on
off
cards
with
from
Ash.
Arisa from the
Well-
first set. But
well,
anyways,
No,
so
it doesn't matter if the trait, like if
He
Ash
just
can
wants
get
to know
the
if
trait
Ash gets this trait.
at all, because there is a counter that gives traits in KOF.
all right,
Just
we're
wants to
hold
know
on.
if
but
the
this-
trait existed before.
but that counter wouldn't see this trait because this has to
All
be
right,
in
I'm
your
looking
hand.
it up. I'm looking
That
it up.
counter says give a character you control plus 1,000 and a trait. It doesn't
Here,
have to be a trait on board.
Okay, sure.
Okay,
Point
okay,
is, he
here,
wants
here.
to give this trait. He wants to quote the trait. There's a Persona 1 that does that as well.
All right, here. I'm looking up Bonsai trait. Arisa is the only character in the game that has Bonsai trait.
All right, so it's a new trait. Here we
It's
go.
it's a new trait in that it came in the first Bang Dream set. But anyways, so if this is in your hand, this gains Bonsai trait. That's actually not a flavor ability. It's actually relevant. When this card or your other music character is placed on stage from hand, you may look at the top card of your library and then put it back. Rest this, choose one of your characters, and that character gets plus 1,000 power until the end of the turn.
So is there some like hand swapping shenanigans here?
Okay, so the reason that this card gains Bonsai trait in hand, I actually had to like look this up myself because I had no idea why this effect was here. There's a card in the first set. It's a 0025. On play, you may discard a character with Bonsai trait to salvage the 1/0 blue event. So that is what the Bonsai trait in hand is relevant for. And so all of the Arisa cards in the first set have Bonsai trait. All of the Arisa cards in the second set, because they changed the traits to be music plus the band, they all of the Arisa cards in the second set have Pop and Party as their second trait, whereas this one gains Bonsai in hand specifically to be discarded for that card.
Sure. I'm gonna just go down my checklist real quick. Nice, Ash, sweet. I didn't realize Bonsai was that in a trait in the first set, but now I know for sure. So that's sick. That last effect is fine, but I wouldn't play level 0 for that. And the middle effect is, I mean, I'm just thinking Terraformers again because that was on a Brainstormer. And
That was on the
this
green
one.
Brainstormer, right?
Yeah, that was on the green Brainstormer, and I think that's the only other card I can think of that has this text.
Ram has it. There's a Ram
Okay,
Global
cool.
has it. It's better in that
definitely
deck
better
too
on-
than it is in Terraformers.
I'm
'Cause
not saying it's not better in that deck, but it's if you're just talking about an individual card, it's better on a Brainstorm than on these.
Okay, so at least for Will, this gets the bonsai rating, quote unquote. And then
I mean, anything in relation to Ash is like enough for me.
uh,
I didn't buy 4
Okay.
Chris's for nothing.
I don't know whether to call this like niche or niche minus.
I think it's a niche.
I'm not.
Like,
Niche minus.
I'm not.
what does this
I'm not even
do?
sure if like what this card offers, apart from like being discardable for that one card.
Yeah,
I don't
but
even know
play
if
a
the
bad card to make another decent card not. I guess it's probably bad card, right? Like the other card is probably also just bad.
I mean,
no the
you
other
have
cards actually
cards from
played.
the first set to ditch instead of this. So
Like don't play a bad card for a bad like a mediocre synergy.
I don't think the event salvager is bad. I think this card is not good.
I would avoid playing bad cards in general. And I'm not saying this is like explicitly unplayable, but like this card doesn't do anything.
He's right. I don't think it does anything.
I agree. I like
It's
in the
like-
deck where you're gonna play that 0/0 that like discards whatever to salvage whatever event. Like you could find much better discard targets than this card. Next we have the where are we? Determination of the Songstress, Yukina Minato. So on play from hand, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a music character, put it in your hand and discard a card. So it's very standard hand filter ability. And her other effect is Resonance. When this is placed on stage from hand, you may reveal the 3/2 Yukina in your hand. If you do, until the end of the turn, this gets plus 1500 power and gets the following ability. When the battle opponent of this becomes reversed, you may put that character on the bottom of the opponent's deck. So it is if you use the Resonance ability, that makes it a 3k attacker that can also bottom deck certain things. Like things that your opponent wants sent to memory are obviously like the prime targets for this. This also has synergy with the Rinko Brainstorm. You can order the abilities in a specific way in order to get better results. So if you play this, you activate the Resonance ability first to give 1500 power and the on reverse bottom deck. Then you put the Brainstorm ability on standby, and then you resolve that to check the top card of your deck. And you can either leave it there or put it on the bottom. So like if you leave it there, then you're going to reveal it with this card's first effect, and you can add it to your hand and then discard a card if you like what you see. Otherwise, you can put it on the bottom, and then that potentially turns the Brainstorm into a Brainstorm 5.
this is like the Fumio. What you just described is just the Fumio, but you need 3 cards to do what that Fumio
Yeah.
did.
Well, I for one am not a fan of 3-card combos.
I think this is just niche, right? It's like
Yeah.
You have a
Seems
better
niche.
you have a
You have a better
different
way to
top
bottom
check.
deck things.
You also have a top checker in another color that does.
I don't think
things.
it's niche. I think it's playable. I think like in any deck where you play the 3/2, like at the worst, it's a filter. And I know like you guys
I mean,
tend
I
to,
think
like,
you'd
not
rather
value
you'd
filters
probably-
very
I mean,
high.
no, but you have another
Uh,
filter that does more
I don't know
for
if
you,
you've
right?
seen the decks that I played,
Or are you
dude.
talking about the Mocha?
Yeah,
I literally play Blue Star Wars just so I
I'm
can
pretty
draw
sure
two
that actually
as
just does
often as
more,
possible.
like because of the alarm.
Oh, no,
effect.
I'm not talking about you specifically. Well, I'm talking about like there's been some like Discord discussions where about like the value of cards with this on play filter effect, and then some people tend to have lesser opinions of the card profile. I think it's perfectly playable
The
in my
first
opinion.
effect is totally fine. The second effect is largely irrelevant in my mind. Playable minus.
Question: are you referring to me? Because I don't really have any strong opinions on the filter effect. I just can't remember if I've expressed any opinions that you might interpret like that.
No, it's not you. It's not you.
Okay, sure. Like it's fine. It's a discard out, and I always appreciate that. Look, I think this is like playable minus. I'm sure that there's a deck out there running this and they don't feel bad about it, but I don't think I would run this myself.
Okay.
Like what does this even get? Like I guess it gets what Hibiki, it gets Kaban. What that Kaban really does a lot. It gives them a plus, I guess. Yeah, whatever.
If you have the card in your hand, you know.
No, you just
like you wouldn't make
you
your
just-
mull worse for this card, right?
No,
you
You have
just
to
rip it
draw-
off the top with the
Right.
top check, man.
But yeah, but then Oh, holy! If you if you get it off the top check, you can use the rest of its ability.
Yeah, you can do that. By the way, you can do that.
Wait, you didn't realize?
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's a sick
Don't
place.
you want to meme Supreme?
Sick place.
Also, from
Yeah,
my
man,
five
that's-
from my 5 million games of playing Bang Dream Mirrors, playing that card using the Brainstorm.
So many Bang Dream Mirrors.
I played too many Bang Dream Mirrors, man.
Who are you playing against?
Mike Chang,
Oh, God.
and like 3 other people at HSI that like all play Bang Dream. Okay, it's like it's just really funny when they like play Sio Suicider to open slot and then attack with it, and then I play the Brainstorm, play this, Resonate, and then give it +1 level, and then run it over and send it to the bottom of the deck. It's just funny.
Oh, that probably would happen a fair bit if you've played a million Bang Dream games.
Okay,
Alright, spent plenty of time.
next card, Stacking Sounds, Sayo Hikawa. When this is placed into the waiting room from stage, you may pay 1 to clock the top card of your deck. If you do, look it up to 3 cards from the top of your deck, choose up 1 character, reveal it to your opponent, put it into your hand, and put the remaining cards into the waiting room.
And I thought you said that I thought you said this deck didn't have selective plussing
You
zeros.
call this a selective
Kappa.
plussing?
I think calling this selective is a little bit of a stretch.
This is.
I
I think
think-
this.
wait.
I think the Sayo, the bomb, is actually a better plus.
It's just any character.
Any character.
Yes.
Any character.
Okay, this goes into Sharon Recall. This is pretty good.
Oh.
This goes into what?
It goes into
Sure.
the standard goes into the standard M Recall deck that you can build with the Milky Holmes joke card. So the idea is you accelerate yourself to level 1 first and then win the game by playing the event.
Oh no.
So what you do with
Sick.
this card is you play it, you let it die, and then you take no cards when you mill 3, so you have more traits in the waiting room. And then eventually you just win the game. Or you can take the 1-0 Aaron if you don't have it yet.
I'm so
Cool.
lost.
I can talk to you about this later, but this is my meme. Like El Prez can have his terraformers. My meme is Sharon Recall.
Okay. So as far as rating goes, what do you guys think of it?
I think it's.
Or do you have
playable.
any thoughts that you would like to elaborate on?
I think this card is worse than the bomb. It's like, cause the fact that this is just looking at your top 3.
This gets destroyed
just
in
like-
Bang Dream Mirrors because both the Minato above, the Yukina above, and the bomb just completely dunk on this.
Let me see if I can phrase this in a way that makes sense. So the bomb, when you use it to replace itself, you are effectively turning the cards that you're clocking for the next turn into like cards that you keep. You don't have to commit a card next turn to replace that card. Which is
This does-
pretty much the
whereas this
same
does
amount
not
of
necessarily-
selectivity as this card, except you don't have to clock yourself. Like you don't have to clock yourself for the bomb, and the bomb has other utilities other than its like pay 1+. I think like this card's like fine. Like it's a pay
Yeah, I think
it's
I
a
understand
pay
where you're
one
coming
clock
from.
plus,
So you're saying like this card compared to the bomb, you have to clock yourself 1 extra to get a card that you're not sure how you're going to use it on the following turn. Whereas
yeah,
the bomb,
it's like one
you-
more. You're essentially you're clocking yourself to look at one more card for your plus.
right, and not even knowing whether or not you will be able to use the card that you plus into.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, like
That's
that's assuming what I meant when you were making the point of like, oh yeah, when you use the effect of the bomb, then you have the bomb to attack with on the following turn. I assume that's what you were going for.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of like the actual selectivity, I think it's like pretty similar. It's just that this does like the bomb doesn't clock you. So, and the bomb has other utility besides
Right,
a cost plus. So.
because it's a bomb.
Yeah.
I was thinking of giving this card like playable minus.
I think that's a reasonable rating.
Yeah. Top
Oh, no.
3 though?
Top three is pretty. Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, how far we've fallen from like Inazuma. So here we have Perfect
Oh, no.
Smile,
Yo, it's your
Chisato
favorite
Shirasagi.
card.
So when this is placed on stage from hand, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a music character, you may put it under this card as a marker, and if this card has a marker, it gains +1 level and plus 1500 power.
So this gets my Japan rating. Japan rating. That's all.
magical try.
So I always liked this card profile because the ability that puts the marker underneath it is optional to like actually put the marker. So like you can reveal the top card of your deck and then just leave it there if you want to, even if it is a character. And I like having like, even though this card can whiff, obviously this card can whiff and just be a 2k and then you trigger a climax. But I like that you can have a beater in the early game that has good traits that you want a beater to have. It has +1 level, giving it immunity to suiciders, and it's higher than vanilla power, but also has potential utility that can be used later on in the game. And so I like this. I tend to like this card profile a lot.
Look,
yeah.
In this context, in the context of there is no Yusuke to compare it with, I'm in perfect agreement. I think this card is pretty good. Like, this is a card that I would put in the deck if I wanted a beater that couldn't be run over by bombs, and it's hard to run over otherwise. If there is a card that is just a 3/5 or 4k level 1 with no other condition in this set, then I will refer you to our Persona 5 Blue review, where I spend 20 minutes talking about how this is not really that much better, and probably is just worse than that card. But until that card exists, this is more than fine. This is a playable card, possibly even playable plus. I don't really rate the idea of knowing your top checks in the later game, because it still takes up a slot on field, and unless you are ramming a card in, that's really not that big a deal, and oftentimes the trigger doesn't matter unless it's the finishing turn, which means either you are post-finisher turn, or you're taking up a slot on your actual finisher turn, which kind of sucks.
Okay. Either of you have any thoughts?
No, it's your easiest blue fix. It's your most. It's one of your best blue fixing cards.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, on to the next one.
Yeah.
We have Blue Goddess Aqua. I mean, White Fairy Eve Wakamiya.
No. Really?
When this is placed on stage from hand, you may pay the cost of put a card from your hand into clock. If so, search your deck for up to 1 Pastel Palettes trait character, reveal it to your opponent, put it into your hand, and shuffle your deck.
Hey, how else are you going to get those colors that you need?
Yeah, you can clock the color you need to search the cards. 4 color strats.
I have a friend who legitimately believes that this is a good card because of what you just said. So,
okay, I will say this much: in the Pastel Palettes deck, like assuming you run the wind, and even if you don't run the wind, like if you don't have your brainstorm, then
or you're
well, more the brainstorm than like anything else. But if you don't have the brainstorm, like you are in for a bad time. And so this is the quote unquote cheapest way to grab that brainstorm.
His deck is also,
and it can also grab other things.
His deck is also completely fucked if it's at 0-6 to start its turn.
Kappa.
I'm just it is basically completely fucked if it's put at 0-6 to start that turn. So, you know.
You just have to trigger a standby.
Oh boy.
Has that been tested? Have people tested standby Pastel?
Oh
my god, I hope they haven't. Please don't.
What have you...
There's nothing to stand by.
I'm gonna give this...
You stand by the missing color, obviously.
Oh my god.
Niche minus.
I'm okay with niche. It's niche by design that it only goes in pastel. I don't think it's bad enough to give it a minus, in my opinion.
I actually hate this card profile. Like, it forces your deck to be a very specific rushy style of deck. That's what happened to Konosuba. It's what happened to Blackrock Shooter. God, I don't know what else has
That's
this.
not how Pastel Palettes plays it, though. And you just use it as like a level 0 play to get your... Like, okay, so like... You need some way to get your cards for level 1. This is a card you can play to get your cards for level 1.
That's really depressing.
It doesn't cost stock.
That's really depressing.
Sorry, dude.
Okay. Next we have Little Demon King, Ako Udagawa.
That's the actual name of this card. I was wondering, is he referring to a Disgaea card now?
Oh, no, that's actually just
She
the
doesn't
card.
look like much of a demon in this one, though.
Okay. During the attack
shit.
phase,
Dude,
during
this
the
is
attack
4K.
phase, you may not salvage characters with your own card effects,
No.
and when you level up, put this in the waiting room.
This is the
think-
anti-salvage.
I really
You salvage
hate
yourself.
Wait,
the
this is
when you level up, this card dies effect is so like freakishly bad. I can't understand how.
So why are both of these
So it can be 4K power, dude.
500 power each?
I can't understand why anybody would want to play a card that has when you level up, put this into waiting room. I actually can't understand. I think that
Because
ability
if
is
opponents
so
misplay
bad.
against, if opponents misplay against you and don't attack this first, or if they try to on reverse and then they level you up, they get memed on for their on reverse combos.
Okay, sure, but then so like let's say you have this 4K beater and your opponent cannot get over this 4K beater, and then they put you at 0-6 and you're like, oh man, I can clock to get my like level 1 combo and start doing things, but then I just -1 for free, and then it's like.
Well, it's not
Actually,
minus,
yeah,
it's like
it
a
sucks.
+0.
Like it really does suck. I don't disagree with you. I'm just putting forward the
Yeah, okay,
devil's
that's like-
advocate argument.
Yeah, that's like such a. Yeah.
Yeah, look, from my perspective, it's objectively worse than the when your opponent plays a climax, this goes either to waiting room or stock. That
Well, going to
is
stock
a
is
strong-
fantastic.
Yeah, that's a strong effect because that's like that card. It's almost like it attacked twice. Your opponent just cancelled once. But this effect, I agree with you. It sucks because there's so many situations you'll encounter where it's just so undesirable, so undesirable.
But it's anti-salvage, guys.
It's anti-salvage.
It's
Thank
only
you.
anti-salvage for you, though.
It's anti-salvage. You can't be affected by anti-salvage because you can't salvage anyway.
I like it.
It's like the shittiest mentality. It's like you can't kill me if I'm already dead.
My leg will stop. My back pain will stop if I kill myself.
Like what? What kind
Okay,
of shitty logic is this?
So next up, we have what is supposed to be another Tae waifu card. Everyone's song Tae Hanazono. When this is placed on stage from hand, this gets plus 500 times the number of your music characters until end of turn. So on a full board, this will go from 4-5 to 7K.
Oh no! What is
And it has
this?
and it has startup, discard an event card until the end of the turn. This gains 1,000 power and gains the ability when the battle opponent of this becomes reversed, you may draw a card. So this is an ability that we had previously seen in a similar variation where you discard a climax in order to gain 1K and on reverse draw. But in this case, you
Reminder,
are you
almost
are-
all of those are sires or sayakos.
oh yeah. Like that's
Hey, this
That's the
doesn't
best
count
part about
because
that
this
card
only
profile.
discards events, not climaxes.
yeah.
Well, I mean,
but-
this is converting your like you've got the 1-0 combo that searches the event, right?
yeah. So the whole point
Yeah.
the whole point of like using this effect is like you have this 2-1 event in your hand and you can't do anything with it, so you might as well ditch it, gain some power, draw a new card, and then you can also use the 0-0 assist that we mentioned earlier to take that 2-1 event that you just discarded, put it back into the deck so you can search it with the combo.
Alternatively, if you like do the combo and search the event and then you get stuck at 1 because your opponent hit you a few times and you cancelled, well, now you've got these events you can't play. Let's convert them into drawing a card. And again, I'm just playing devil's advocate because what I just said is not actually desirable. It's like, eh.
I actually do think that might be a little bit more of a realistic scenario because
No. I think it's relevant. I just
No,
don't
I
think
mean,
it's
like,
very
well,
good.
the main reason why I feel that way is because you have this on reverse climax combo, but then this card is also on reverse in order for you to potentially draw the card. So I think it would make more sense if over the course of 2 turns, you use the climax combo to get the cards in the first place, and then you can use this card to get the excess copies of the 2-1 event out of your hand, and then reverse the characters that your opponent has now put on their field in order to activate her effect.
I don't hate this card. I also don't think I would play it outside this quote-unquote waifu deck, but you might play it with, like... Is there any reason you would play it with the, what's her name? The one who gets the red climax. The one with the red climax combo to get the red event.
Oh, Kasumi? Well, the thing is that event, you can just play it anyway.
That's what I was thinking. You just play the event, do some milling, and then, I mean, if you I really don't think there's any situation where you do want to draw instead of using that actual event's effect, unless you are stacking your deck. Which no one should be doing, so let's ignore what I just said. How about
that? If you were trying to fit this into like a mixed deck with like lots of different bands and lots of different cards, then the most popular events in those decks are ones that you would rather just play anyway and don't actually get stuck in your hand, except maybe like the 2-1 swap out all your opponent's stock event. Like maybe you would want to get rid of that, but for the most part, this card just goes into like the Tai waifu, or at least like mostly Tai waifu deck, which makes it a niche card.
Yeah, seems like a Tai waifu deck card. Niche,
what?
right?
You'd play it in that deck?
What, in Tai waifu?
Why would you play this card in that deck?
In Tai waifu?
Don't you have better card? You have an Ellie clone!
Wait, which Ellie?
From the first set.
Isn't that an Arisa?
Wait,
no,
what?
There's an Ellie clone that's a Tai from the first set. Why would you play this?
Oh, that Ellie. Oh, I didn't understand which Ellie you were talking about.
Why would you play this card?
Because this can be 7k.
Because this card gets dead cards out of your hand.
It's a waifu deck.
I think you could make a case for either one. We can at least agree that the card is niche, though, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm on niche.
This card's whatever.
Okay. Next up, we have Blinding Sunlight, Lisa Imai. So this is a 1045. On play gains 1500 power, and on play Resonance, reveal the 3/2 Yukina in your hand to gain 1k power, 1 level, and the following ability until the end of the turn. When the battle opponent of this becomes reversed, you may put that character on the bottom of the opponent's deck. So 7k.
Is it just me, or did they get lazy? Like this, I feel like I've seen this card before, but
without the Resonance ability.
And also what, level 0?
Yeah.
So
yeah, basically. Yeah.
So 107k, provided you have the Resonance, you can shoot your opponent's characters to the bottom of their deck, and the +1 level has synergy with the level support, and I guess by extension the Brainstorm, in that you can give +1 level or +2 levels to herself in order to make your level assist buffer harder.
Dang.
So this is how you like randomly get blown up by an anti-change, right?
Is it even? Why would you even?
Who would do that?
Why would?
Who would do that?
I mean, I could see Gochiusa plays doing it. Damage economy.
Oh, you know what actually happened to me once? I attacked with this, and I was against Elia, and they played the 2-1 counter, and then they healed.
Wait, it's not even damage. Yeah, dude.
That actually
Get dunked on,
me
dude.
once.
Get dunked on.
It was so sad. Oh my god.
Alright, let's move on, shall we?
That
card is a filler card, right? It's like...
I think
it's like niche plus to playable minus. I'm not sure which, but
niche plus is not like under playable minus, for the record.
Oh, it's not.
No, it's
like
not.
Niche plus is like a card
Niche is
that
a separate tier.
Makes
almost.
the niche deck. Like say the Alchemist's level 3, which advanced summons. That's a niche plus card.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure then.
Yeah, this card is playable minus for you then. It's playable minus.
Okay, sure. Next we have Stage Maya Yamato. So she is a 2/1 4K, and she's blue. and whatever color you put under her as a marker. So when she's placed on stage from hand, you can choose any card in your waiting room, put it face up under her as a marker, and she gains the color of whatever the marker is. And if you have all 4 colors on stage, she is a global level support.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a little bit of a weird one.
So I'm assuming that the idea is because you have a fixed back row, and replacing that fixed back row with a non-green/yellow card requires that you get that color again. That's what this card does, right?
Yes.
Yeah, ideally you would be putting a green marker under this card so that it can.
So this is just it's like an optional upgrade to the green card, right? Because that's a global.
Yeah, except the green card is a front 1K if you have all 4 colors.
Okay, sure. And this one's a front, and this one's a level X.
Yes.
To global, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's just an optional 1-cost upgrade to exactly that green card, and that's about it, right?
So let's you play red cards in the front.
Wait, you're normally playing red cards in the front.
Yeah, red and blue are your front colors, right?
No, I mean, well, yeah, but like, if you have, you can just play.
This lets you play only red cards.
Just
in
red
the front.
cards, yeah. If that's your jam.
But like the thing is, if you're only playing red cards in the front, then you probably only have 3/2 Ayas in the front. And why do you only have 3/2 Ayas in the front?
I mean,
like there's bound to be like Hina 3/2 or something up in the front row, ideally. Okay, but like in the fringe case where
you play 3 of the TD Costume.
Okay, sure. Okay, in these like specific scenarios where this is your back row, has a green marker, and you have the Brainstorm, and your front row consists of some number of red cards, then yeah, I guess like the best thing that this does is like it turns on the free fresh or something. Which is relevant.
That's true. It means your blue cards don't have to survive the battle phase.
Yeah.
To turn on the
and you can still free fresh.
This card seems incredibly important for that particular 4-color deck.
Not as much as you might think.
We both had it as a one of in our builds, right?
Well, I mean, like important.
I never played this card actually.
Oh, you never played this?
I never played this card.
Okay, I have this at 1 in my build. Yeah,
because I think the green assist is just better. In most cases, so.
The green assist, having 1K front for a costless card is already pretty good.
Yeah, I just didn't think paying 1 more stock just to make the level assist global was like that great. So, like, meh.
So that's my problem. It costs 1. Like, if this had like, I don't know how you would do it, but if you got stock back for playing this, then it'd be a lot more attractive. But even then, it's like it'd be a one-off in my theoretical pastel palette stack.
Yep.
Well, at least your healers cost 1 stock.
That's true.
Okay, so next card then.
All right, next card.
We have Stage Hina Hikawa. She's a 2/1/7K. On attack, if the character opposite her is level 3 or higher, she gains plus 6,000 power for the turn. And Encore, discard a Pastel Palettes character. Not the most exciting card.
Seems very functional.
Are we gonna... Okay, so my question is are we gonna call this niche? And I'm going to go with yes, because there is a 2/1 promo.
Yes, because it's
7/5 that has like even like if you were gonna call it niche without the context of like this card that I'm about to tell you, then like it's like super niche afterwards, because there's a 2/1 promo 7/5 that has the on attack gives itself 6K and just doesn't have the Encore. So like that one can be played in decks other than Pastel, whereas this one's like only Pastel.
I mean, this one technically can go into decks other than Pastel Palettes, it just has no other text.
Right. but like
But it loses
you would
500
you would
power,
rather you would rather lose that text and also gain 500
Yeah,
power.
and gain the 500 power. I think so. It's just an objective difference, right? And 500 power or not 500 power, because you're not running any other pastel palettes characters. Yeah. This is like niche, I think. I
Yeah.
think it is worth playing pastel palettes over that promo because, well.
Oh yeah, because of the
obviously.
encore. Because of the encore. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Next.
that's about it.
Next, we have connecting the two, Lisa Imai, 00500, on play, optional mill 3, and on play bond pay 1 to the 3/2 Yukina. I really wish this was clock bond.
Do you?
I do.
Is the difference that big? Like, is there a reason that you have that wish?
It lets you bond for it in a late game turn. It lets you
hit level 1. Lets you. It
Yeah.
helps
sure.
you.
I think
It means
it's better-
you're.
it would
It
be
means
better
you're
as a
not
clock
paying
bond.
stock that could be paid for the 3/2, which,
Okay,
as we
sure.
mentioned earlier, is very stock intensive.
Yep, sure. I mean, if you're only doing a single, well, if you're only doing a single 3/2, you don't need a bond.
It is a healer.
I know
though.
you're right. No, you're right. I think this would be better as a clock bond because this doesn't really have a function if as a bond otherwise. Because you don't want to play this unless you're on like a god game in order to get your second copy. And even then, you can probably get your second copy without playing something like this.
You could think of. Well, I mean, this could be.
If
like,
you're playing
since
the
it's
Resonance
Mills
Suite,
3,
you're probably holding one the whole game.
You could pretend this is just a guarantee. This is a brainstorm with a guaranteed hit for your finish.
Oh my god. That's one way to think of it.
I don't think.
At least having optional mill 3 is a nice little bonus. I do think the card is like playable minus though. What do you guys think?
It's like I don't know. Would I
think you
play this
ever
card?
play this.
I don't think I play this card. This is like
I don't even play this card.
I don't want to say it's bad because I really don't think it's bad, but I also don't think you play it. So how do I rate that?
Mediocre. Playable minus.
Playable minus.
I think it's like playable minus in that like you could see
Oh,
someone
oops.
playing it, but you wouldn't play it.
Yeah, let's go with playable minus.
All right.
Yeah.
So next up we have Interrupting in Pajamas, Tae Hanazono. When this is placed on stage from hand, look at the top card of your deck and either put it on top or bottom. And when this is placed on stage from hand, mill 2. And if there were any climax cards in those 2 cards, choose one of your characters, and that character gains plus 1500 power until the end of the turn.
You know what an interesting question is? Is this better or worse than Poochie Mikan?
Worse.
Worse. Definitely worse.
All right. So by saying that I'm assuming you guys just don't value the top check or whatever. Like I personally think Poochie Mikan is better because it has a very defined role rather than a wishy-washy role, which this one does. But I mean, this one's not terrible if you like just want to mill 2 then know your top check. But again, less relevant in less scenarios.
I think that the fact that this card is more random in its results, I can't really come up with a good answer on like whether I think it's better or worse than Poochie Mikan.
It's actually a 1k power buff.
Oh, really?
No, I mean, never mind.
Oh, you mean like? Wait, no,
No.
wait, no, it's only like 500 up, isn't it?
I don't know what the actual ratio is, the actual hit chances, but meh. It's like
It has like a defined utility, but also a much more random utility.
it's just like I mean you're literally just playing this for deck control, and you're not counting on the power, which makes this like probably just distinctly different from Poochie Mikan probably.
Yeah. And if you wanted to play Poochie Mikon, Bang Dream literally has 5 different cards that have the Poochie Mikon effect.
Guess what? Puchimikon's pretty mediocre.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Okay. Okay, so up next we have the Changer? Yeah.
Hey, look, it's not Puchimikon.
Yeah. Wait a minute. So this is On the Chosen Path, Chisato Shirasagi. I'm gonna read the effects in the opposite order that they're written. So when this is placed on stage from hand, you may pay the cost of putting this card into the waiting room. If so, choose a pure white place Chisato Shirasagi, which was the red oversize that we talked about in the red episode, in your waiting room, and put it in this card slot. And when this is placed on stage from hand, choose one of your music characters, and that character gains plus 1500 power until the end of the turn.
Yo,
This
strictly
card is-
better Poochie Maker.
This card is deceptively good for that deck.
Yeah, so this card lets you put
1-0.
a 7k, well, I'm like, assuming you have all 4 colors, this lets you put a 7k beater on your field, and it can pump one of your other lanes by, or it can pump one of your lanes in general by 1500 power. And yeah,
I
so
think the bigger thing is that it lets you run a 2-color level
You can
one
pump.
instead of a 3-color level 1.
You can pump the card that you
Bring out?
change into.
Yes.
yeah,
Yep.
so the reason I read them in that order, in case you guys haven't in case like the viewers haven't figured it out already, is like you can activate the 2 abilities in whatever order you want. So you can change it into the 7k, and then you can put the buff on that 7k that you just put into play. So, I think Niche sums it up pretty well, considering that you're pretty much only playing it in the pastel deck to accomplish your 4-color needs. You can cheat out the red when you don't have red, things like that.
I think you probably won't have red, which makes this card like pretty good for that deck. But
Yeah?
yeah.
Okay
Yeah,
then.
we've got to be nearly done with blue, right? We've been here for
We
like 6
have
billion hours.
we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 left.
Still?
Damn, son.
Blue is a very big color.
Don't worry, yellow will be pretty fast.
Yeah. 1/1 stage Eve Wakamiya. 1/1 6k. When this attacks, this gains X power for the turn, where X is 500 times the number of characters, or the number of colors on your stage. So it maxes out at a plus 2k buff, and it has character encore.
It's just bad.
I feel like we've actually got like 8Ks with just character encore now, don't we? Like,
This is just bad. Let's
1/1 tie.
Well, okay. In that deck, this is a 1/1 7k.
Yeah, because you have the 1k
Like-
assist.
9K.
I don't think.
Hey, he's not wrong. You could play
Like,
tie front
so-
row, and then your back row's Brainstorm, Maya, and you have a yellow character in front.
Here's the problem, right? So the red card comes out and is almost the same power, and is the same power on defense,
And didn't cost stock.
and didn't cost stock. Yeah. So
I like stock.
And it probably got almost as much of a power pump as this one did
Yeah,
because of the blue card's effect.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, the red card comes out. If you pump the red card, it'll come out for like, at worst 500 power less. Than this, and it'll
Yeah,
be the
yeah,
same
th-
amount
yeah,
of
this card's
power.
bad.
It's just
I don't think it has anything going for it.
yeah.
Like niche minus to bad, something like that.
It's got a cute Finnish girl on it. Okay, next we have Single-Minded Ambition Ako Udagawa. It is a 2/1 500 power, so insert Kaiki joke here for some reason you're ever putting this card on your field.
I've done sillier things.
Okay, so it's a backup, 2500 power. And when you use this card's backup, choose one of your battling characters, and that character gains the following ability until the end of the turn. When the battle opponent of this becomes reversed, you may put that character onto the bottom of your opponent's deck. So the reason this is 2/5 compared to the memory kit counters is because this one's optional. I would assume that's the reason why this is 2/5 as opposed to 3k.
Yeah, memory kick ones are all mandatory as far as I know. What can I say?
It's a playable card.
It's playable. That is what it is. Well, hey.
Nice. Next we have stage Arisa Ichigaya. Oh crap, I forgot that we still had this card. Alright, so this is a 2/1/7K. And let's start with the second ability. So she has Resonance. At the start of your climax phase, you may reveal Arisa Swimsuits, which is the healer with Revenge Burn from the first set, in your hand. And if you do, this card may side attack without soul penalty this turn. And the other effect is when this card is front attacked, you may pay 1, put this card into Waiting Room. If you do, choose up to 1 Arisa Swimsuits in your hand and put it into this card's slot as the new defending character.
Alright, so it's absolutely required that you be as obnoxious as possible about whether or not you have the Arisa in your hand the turn after you resonate with it. Whatever. This is like a waifu deck card, right?
Nope, they are playing this a lot.
Well, if you play the
They're playing
level 3,
what I'm.
I guess
The main
play
thing that this is being played as is so 3/2 not Kotori Arisa, and this and Standby. That is being played a lot right now, and that is the reason why the 3/2 healer is 2,500 yen now.
Jesus.
I'm like, I'm not even. I don't even.
If it matters, the 3/2 is a 3/2/9K on play heal, gains 500 for every other music character, and during this card's battle, if you take damage and you do not cancel, you may pay 2 ditch 1, burn your opponent for the damage that you took. And yep.
I can call this niche, I think.
I think it's playable. I don't think it's niche.
Well, it's
Japan thinks it's playable, I think is what you meant to say.
I think it's playable.
Japan thinks a lot of things.
It's okay. I'm Japanese. I can be counted as that.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. You can have that opinion, and no one can judge you for it. Come on, really? I mean, it's probably annoying to play against, but good. That's.
Well, this is why we each have our own separate ratings, right?
Yep.
That's true. I'm on. I mean, it probably is very annoying to play against, but annoying isn't what determines how good a deck is for me. And do I even care that I get reverse burned with this card? If the other slots are my opponent wasting all of their stock? Not really.
Where are they wasting their stock?
On the advanced summon Arisa.
Oh, that. Yeah.
When does the Arisa choose? When does it allocate?
Attack phase.
Okay, so I can side attack if they allocate this anyway. I mean, come on. This is whatever. This is niche. I'm just gonna call it niche. I don't care anymore.
Okay, sure. Next we have What Should I Do? Rinko Shirokane. That's 2/1/7K. When this attacks, if the character opposite this is a level 3 or higher, this gets plus 4,000 power and plus 1 soul until end of turn. And at the start of your climax phase, Resonance, by revealing level 3 Yukin on your hand to gain an additional 2K. The plus 1 soul makes it much more relevant than the other cards that gain large amount of power against level 3s. And if you're playing level 3 Yukina and you're looking for a card that
this is a no-brainer,
wants to smack over level 3s, then yeah.
No, I agree. This is clearly there because it's got the extra soul. I don't think it's a competition at all.
The extra soul is easily the most dominant reason you would run this over.
The most delectable part of this card.
Yeah. Okay, are we done? Oh no, we still have 2 more.
No.
Two more. 2/1 stage Tai Hanazono. 2/1/7/5. For each marker under this gets plus 1,500 power. At the start of your climax phase, if there are 3 or few cards in your hand, she dies. And when she reverses a battle opponent, you may choose a music character in your waiting room and put it face down under this as a marker.
How
Why?
much is this? This is 500 bigger than Kaizodo, right?
Yes, because it has that detriment, dude.
Wait
Man,
a
the
minute.
detriment.
Doesn't 2-1 Asuna and Yuki gain a level?
Yes.
It might, which actually makes it arguably weaker.
It does.
Like there is a Lucia, which should not be played, but people play it anyway
Wow.
because they are dumb.
What the?
And it doesn't.
Oh
get
no.
levels.
Asuna and Yuki doesn't gain a level. It's Asuna and Yuki's
then-
actually just this, but without the kills itself part.
Wait, really? Wouldn't it be a 7K?
It is.
It is a 7K.
Yeah, okay.
It's
Then
literally
this is
Quasar,
this is
except
7.5.
Asuna and Yuki.
This is a 7.5.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's the demerit. Look, that's fine. Like, I don't think this card is actually particularly good anywhere, even in rewrite. Says the guy with 6 foils.
I think
I
this
don't know how I
card's
got
just,
six,
just
but
bad.
it's
I don't wanna lose my 2-1 for no reason.
I mean, you probably won't lose your 2-1 for no reason unless you're using the combo, and at that point, does it really matter that much?
Wait, which combo? I'm just talking about this card blowing itself up.
Oh wait, no. Yeah, but when is this gonna blow itself up? Like,
Like,
how
would
often are you planning to have
I mean,
real
like,
fuel
would
cards?
you actually play this? If you.
I don't
you
think you
wouldn't
play this,
have
but I
the
don't
card.
think that's
No, I mean,
a
like
big deal.
in the deck, in a deck that would run this card, would you actually ever play this if you thought you're going to be under 3 cards at the start of your climbing space?
No, you wouldn't. You just save that stock.
Yeah, that's the.
Sure. Which means that you're putting this card in your deck for some unknown reason that we can't explain.
Well, no, it's
Oh,
like a
to
marker.
Play it and snowball, like you snowball, because when
Okay,
you
yeah,
kill
sure,
something,
yeah.
and then if your opponent runs into it, you get another card, and now you have a 10-5, and it can't be anti-changed, and your 10-5 might kill something else, and it snowballs, and eventually it's 17-5, and then you lose the game because power is not what wins games in Weiss Schwartz.
Okay, sure.
It's a soul beater, unfortunately, but that's okay on the swing back.
Okay, so are we
Yeah.
calling this bad? Question mark.
I'm calling it bad.
I don't think this is.
I'll call it playable
Ah.
minus.
I actually don't know where to put this, but I don't think you'd put it in any deck except some very specific ones. You might put in like a weird ass Thai waifu deck.
Taie Waifu has like the 3-2 early plays though.
Yeah,
Wait, but that you
could
don't.
have-
This is a completely different kind of card. I'm just gonna,
What?
like you don't play. I don't.
I think
can't
if you played
you
in
can't
any deck,
compare
it's
this to the early play though, right? I don't think you can.
I mean, it's the thing you play at level 2, but this is not your main plan. Like, if you you're gonna play the early plays, and I don't know how it got into this discussion, but I'm calling it niche because I can't imagine it in any other deck.
I don't think I can even imagine it in Taie Waifu.
I'll give it a playable minus because I like this profile.
I don't like these profiles.
I mean,
Okay.
the profile is really comfy. It's really comfy.
On to the last card in blue. Twins Anguish. Sayo Hikawa. It's a 2/2/6/5. For each of your other music characters, this gains plus 1,000, and it has music character encore.
And it has a
I
dip
think
bond
you
and yellow.
you gave the name wrong. It's standby target Sayo Hikawa.
Standby target Sayo Hikawa. Yes, okay.
It has a ditch bond.
Yeah, so the 0/0 that you guys see on your screen is it's a 0/0 Hina, and it's a ditch bond to the 2/2, and then it also has the effect, if your level is 2 or higher, you can sack this to play the 2/2 from hand at no stock
Why
cost.
would you ever ditch bond? Like, if you're going to ditch that standby, just play the standby and get the 2/2 on the field, dude. I'm joking.
I
That was
don't know,
not a
man.
serious. That was not a serious point.
But I potentially 2/0 10/5 with character encore
Is this your best standby target by level, as far as like level 2 cards that you can standby up?
Gotta
as a
be
generic one.
Yeah.
As a generic one, this is the best one, I believe.
Okay. Well, I can give it like a niche or something.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Standby's garbage, but that's just my opinion. I mean, you could argue that the best standby target's that stupid can side attack without penalty.
Yo, I do think that's like probably like one of the best standby
Now you're
targets though.
thinking with me.
It's okay.
Well-
This is why we have discussions.
God, I still think Standby is just a garbage card. Whatever.
Okay. On to yellow then.
That was blue. See you in yellow.